off-ramp too. So we'll talk about all that. We're also going to talk tonight about the government shutdown, which is coming up, and it's sort of an interesting shutdown. We were going to talk about this last week. The deadline was Friday for a $1.7 trillion spending package that would fund 7 departments and agencies. The Democrats threatened not to vote for it if it would fully fund Homeland Security, which is one of the departments included in the bill. So ultimately, the Republicans split it up, and they allowed the other departments and agencies to be funded with the Democrats, and they passed a continuing resolution for Homeland Security so they could negotiate that over the course of this week. So all the funding was passed on Friday except for DHS. DHS got a 1-week extension, and now there's a new Friday deadline. But it looks like there is no agreement between Republicans and Democrats. Democrats want to shut down the government if the Homeland Security funding does not come with body cameras, removing face coverings, all these other restrictions for ICE agents, things that Republicans are never going to go for. So it seems like on Friday, Homeland Security is going to be shut down. It's going to be a partial shutdown, but only for DHS. And even better, it will not affect ICE and Border Patrol. ICE and Border Patrol got this huge package last year in the big, beautiful bill, so they have enough money. They're good to go. This will affect the TSA. This will affect some of the other agencies within DHS, but it won't actually affect border enforcement. So we'll talk about that too. Should be a pretty good show. Before we get into it, I want to remind you to smash the follow button on Rumble, smash the like button, leave a comment, let me know what you think about the show. Remember to check out our store. Always controversial. Fuentes.store to get your USA quarter zip. Very provocative. Get your America First hats, sweatshirts, t-shirts, all that stuff. It's on our store. Become a Plus subscriber if you want to support the show. $15 a month, you get access to the entire archive of all my content, and you also get it in MP3 format. And for $100 a month, you get to be in a group chat with me. And with all the drama that's going on, I talk about the drama in the group chat. I'm very candid in the group chat because I feel more comfortable. When I'm with other rich people that I can trust, I'm a lot more candid, and I can say whatever I like, and I know anyone that's willing to give me $100 to talk to me is going to uncritically accept it anyway. So I really am not self-conscious. So check it out, AmericaFirst.plus. That's the website, AmericaFirst.plus. With that, we're going to dive in. I got to say, it's been a lot of drama today. A lot of drama. Me and Jake Shields are fighting it out. And then you have this Elijah Schaffer subplot. Me and Jake Shields are having a flame war. Classic. Another one. We're at it again. You're dumb. You're gay. Never mind. We're friends. That's going on. And then this Elijah Schaffer subplot. Everybody's going, whoa. That's next level. That's some next level drama. And people have been saying to me, people have actually been texting me all day, you got to talk about the drama, you got to get into it. And here's my view on all of it, the whole thing. And this is my view of the whole world, okay? This is my view of what is going on in the world. Let us never forget who the real enemy is. Can we do that? Can we keep our eye on the prize a little bit? I'm fighting with Jake Shields, and he's saying nasty things about me, and I said nasty things about him. At the end of the day, we are on the same side. You have to realize this. Whatever he thinks of me, whatever I think of him, and we disagree, and we don't always get along. But did you read the Epstein files? Think of it. This is all I could think about. Epstein is calling us goyim. They hate us. They're calling us goyim. They're literally laughing about us to each other, saying, goyim are stupid, goyim suck. They're animals. They're born to serve us. All this kind of stuff. Okay, this is the problem with our country. We are about to go to war with Iran. We have 50 million illegal aliens that aren't going to leave. We have white leftists that are throwing themselves in front of bullets and cars to rescue those people. And here's all you need to know. These categories of people, they hate you and they want you to die. The Jews hate you and they want you to die. The illegal immigrants, the Somalis, the Haitians, many of the legal immigrants, they hate you and they want you to die. The left hates you and they want you to die. We are in an existential battle and we're losing badly. Okay? It's us, it's our children, it's our grandchildren, but it's also our ancestors and the civilization our ancestors built. They're going to kill all of it. They're going to exhume the corpses of our ancestors. They are going to destroy our monuments to our ancestors and our heroes. They're going to destroy our libraries, which contain our knowledge and our stories and our culture. They are going to take our stuff, and then they are going to kill us. And then they are going to go to Israel. And then the brown people that are here are going to dance on the ashes. And the white leftists, I don't know, they'll sacrifice themselves too in this orgy of anti-white violence. And once you consider what we're up against, I look at all the other stuff and I realize we have to be a little bit kinder to each other. We need to have a little bit more of a siege mentality. We need to emulate the enemy. And here's what I mean. So, me and Jake are fighting. We're in this ugly battle. We're talking trash. I see this other stuff about some dear friends of mine. And everybody is torching these guys. We're all torching each other. The Goyim are fighting. The Jews are laughing. The Goyim are yelling at each other. The Goyim are divided. The Goyim are moralizing. The Goyim are killing each other. And the Jews are laughing. The Jews are rubbing their hands. And they're laughing. And they love to see the Goy on Goy violence. And you want to know something about them? Consider Dave Rubin. Dave Rubin created children through surrogacy. This is like actually a horrific crime when you think about it. Because what he has done is he has brought children into the world. And his plan for that child is to rip the child from its biological mother. Could you imagine? I know that not every child is blessed to know their mother for one reason or another. And usually it's because the mother dies or the mother abandons the child. Something has gone terribly wrong. This is the plan. They pay for this. It's premeditated. They brought a child into the world with the intention of taking the child from its mother permanently. And you're depriving somebody of something which is so important to their growth and development as a human being. Those first 3 months, a newborn needs its mother. And throughout a child's development, could you imagine growing up without your mother? Could you even imagine? And we love our fathers, but your mother's your mother. Could you imagine? Where would we be without our mothers? Without our mothers, and no one loves us in the whole world like our mothers do. Not always the case, but generally speaking, that's the rule. Nobody loves you as unconditionally and more than your mother, whatever her flaws might be. And I'm not saying, I love my mom. I'm just saying some people, when I say this, they go, well, my mom's mean to me or something. Your mother's the most important person, especially for a growing human being. The plan was to take the child. Now, Dave Rubin is a Jew, pro-Israel guy. Do you ever see him get any flack for this? Is this stigmatized? Is this criticized? Absolutely not. No, they congratulate him. They celebrate him. They say, hey, congratulations, Dave. This is awesome. People that are conservative, people that are religious, you know, in a word, they close ranks. They're a little bit shameless. They're team players. If they got disagreements, if they have problems, they keep them in the family. They don't do their fighting in front of the Goyim. They say, hey, not in front of the Goyim. Let's battle this out behind the scenes. And I think about that all the time. This is our critical weakness as a group. And this is the main tool of the enemy. We want a better life. We want a better world. We want a better life for our people, for our children. We want a better world for our children to grow up in. We want our sovereignty. We want our independence. We want our freedom. And because we want for a better world, we have standards. We fall short of them. We all do, all the time. It makes hypocrites out of all of us. But the people that are raping our country, the people that are raping our world, the people that are destroying our world, they have no standards. They have no shame, no remorse, no sense of fairness or reciprocity or principle or consistency. And when we fall short of the better world we're trying to create, they use our standards to hang us. And that's a trick. It's to get us to despair and say, what a world. We don't deserve a better world. Why bother fighting for a better world if we fall short, if we're flawed, if we're imperfect? And so who are the people that are going to deliver for us the political change? People that never make mistakes, people that never fall short, people that never have problems, people that are never friends with people that have problems, people that never fight amongst themselves or have disagreements, you know, whatever it is. What do you think about all these things that happen in our scene? That's a trick. Because, of course, the people that are in power, they do worse. They do horrible things. There's never accountability. There's never a circling of the wagon, or rather, they do circle the wagons. There's never a circular firing squad. It's the opposite. So, you know, I've known Elijah a long time, and, you know, we don't always get along. But this is a guy that's criticized Israel. This is a guy that's paid a price for telling the truth. When he was at the Blaze, he had me on the Blaze 4 years ago, 5 years ago, before anybody was talking about these issues. And he staked his entire career on that, and that's a big reason why they tried to fuck up his life. That's a big reason why some crazy woman tried to sue him, why he got fired. And he's not a Boy Scout, but that was a big part of it. It made him a target because he actually was convicted about these things to tell the truth. Sarah Stock is the same also. And again, it's not, you know, I'm not going to opine on their personal lives. It's not my fucking business. People want to get in everybody's business. I say, you know, consider the source. Who are the people that are spreading this kind of malicious gossip around, and who does that serve? Is that for their benefit? Or is that self-serving? You know, the people that are pushing the gossip revel in stirring the pot, revel in creating discord and sowing division and creating chaos. Consider the source. Everybody's got an opinion on what's happening in people's lives. Sorry to tell you, people make mistakes, people make terrible mistakes, and it does happen, and it doesn't excuse it, but it's really none of our business. And people are so quick to judge and have something to say and have an opinion. I don't have an opinion about these people's personal lives. That's their business. That's their business with their families. Those are their problems to sort out. And I wish them the best. I wish their families the best. But, you know, this sort of stuff is pushed around. And, you know, again, I think that these are people that have taken a courageous stand on the issues. I think that these are our people fighting for the bigger picture, fighting for the mission. And you got to keep that in mind. And, you know, it doesn't take away from the fact that, I mean, yeah, it's a spectacle and it's a controversy and all that. But I think people need to get their heads on straight and realize we're in an informational war. And reputational destruction, this is one of the tools that they use. This is how they take players off the board, and you see it all the time. They did it to Andrew Tate with sex trafficking. They did it to Ye. They did it to everybody that you see, everybody that is out there telling the truth. And the people that are squeaky clean, you know, this is your survivorship bias. Find me the person that doesn't have a scandal, and I'll show you somebody that's paying for that protection. Find me that squeaky clean person that doesn't have problems, that isn't the spectacle for this week, that isn't the talk of the town. And I'll show you somebody who has all the same problems, but no one's talking about them because they're protected. They're under the protection of the Sanhedrin. They're under the protection of the organized syndicate. Survivorship bias. It's that figure of the plane. It's that figure of those World War II planes. If you're familiar with what I'm talking about, all those people that seem to be so perfect or something, are they perfect? You know, these people that work at the Blaze, these people that work at Daily Wire, these people that work at CPAC, are these people really better than us? Are they really more moral than us? Are they really smarter than us? Or are these people just spared from the muckraking that goes on because they're in on the take, they're not rocking the boat? And a lot of that goes on, believe me. So, you know, people want me to go in here and rivel and, you know, say what people expect me to say. And, you know, I reached out to the people involved and I said, hey, hang in there. You know, God bless you. Here if you need me. And Jake Shields, you know, I saw somebody say, this guy was just saying all these terrible things about you. How can you squash it? I called Jake Shields up today. We talked for 6 minutes. It was over. 6 minutes. He's talking shit all day. I went on a rant about him on the show last night for a half hour. I called him up, 6 minutes, squashed, over. I said, it's a wash. I talk shit about you. You talk shit about me. Let's let it go. And you want to know why? Because he's an honest guy. I'm an honest guy. I know he's got good intentions. I have good intentions. I know that he loves his children. I know that he loves his family. I know that he's passionate about the issue. So am I. And we need to refocus a little bit, because I'm going to tell you something. It's very obvious that the Israel critical movement is beginning to come apart. That much is clear. We owned 2024. We owned 2025. No question. The Jews are very smart. And they always learn. They always know how to counterattack. And it's debatable how much of this is being planned, how much of this is self-sabotage. But it's very clear that we are not as strong as we were a year ago. There's a lot more division. There's a lot more infighting. It just isn't as coherent as it was maybe 6 months ago. And there's a lot of reasons for that. I think there's a lot of factors. But I think it's very important for us to circle the wagons. Very important for us to get back together and consolidate and get it together. And that's why I said over the past few weeks, I've been saying this, this is a year of refinement. And I'm going to be unpopular. I'm going to be attacked. People are going to say that I'm not a purist. People are going to say, like the shit they've said about me with Charlie Kirk or with Epstein or Venezuela. And I'm willing to be that guy, because we need to introduce a little bit of restraint. We need to introduce a little bit of discipline. And that goes in many different ways. The infighting, the quickness to attack each other, but even in what we say and whether what we're saying is accurate. We have to introduce a little discipline and get serious. This is a long-term movement. We are here for the long haul. We have introduced the red pill. We won that battle. Okay? The hearts and minds. We've mainstreamed the views. We've shattered the Overton window. We won that battle. But now the goal is to translate that into political and societal success. And that's a much more difficult task. It's sort of, you know, when you're just trying to get the message out there, you're just trying to do it by hook or by crook. Any way that we can get the message out there, you do it. Any spectacle, any attention you can get, any person you can get on their platform, you know, we're pushing it as much as we can. Well, the message is out there. Now it's a different task. Now it's about creating an intellectual foundation. Now it's about creating a commercial foundation, economic foundation, political foundation. Now it's time to take a little inventory of what we got. Who do we got? What are their positions? What are their resources? And we have to start to think of ways that we can actually make a difference in the political system and everything that that entails. It's downstream from a lot of different things that you can do. And So that's really where we're at as a movement. We need to mature a little bit, and it's going to be rocky. You know, it's not going to be smooth sailing, but it needs to be done. So I've been trying to introduce a little bit of discipline. I know it's caused a lot of people to question me, and I try my best to reassure them. People say, I'm not so sure about what you're saying, you know, and I try to remind people, hey, like, we have to lead with the facts. But anyway, those are just some thoughts on everything that's been going on. It's been sort of crazy. You know, this past couple months, we got to be honest, we're losing the narrative a little bit. And you got to imagine that when Candace Owens is talking about Egyptian planes for 3 months and it's totally fake, her enemies are laughing. And you want to know something? Candace has said terrible things about me. I've said terrible things about her. I'm going to say this. Candace's enemies are our enemies. Believe it or not, they hate us just as much. That Nathan Livingstone guy, he fucking hates all of us. That guy that's, you know, posting her highlight reel every day, when Ben Shapiro's laughing at her, you know, these people hate us too. Sometimes it's important to remember that. You know, and so I look at the things she does, and I criticize them, one, because I worry whether they're correct or not, and how they're hurting the credibility of the broader movement. But look, Candace taking a dive, that's not good for us. That's not good for anybody. Candace taking a dive like this, and, you know, that's not a backhanded thing to say. When her credibility's attacked, if she looks goofy, if she looks silly, well, whether you love her or you hate her, she is one of the biggest spokespeople in the world about this issue. It matters whether she's getting it right or not. It matters whether she's got credibility. You know, and as much as I like to take shots at her, her going down is not actually good for all of us. I mean, I guess it depends on how she wants to play. If she's super malicious, if she wants to be malicious, that's one thing. If she wants to be a part of the solution, it's different. So we all need to be a little bit more responsible and take some ownership as stakeholders. We need to do a little bit of a better job as leaders. We can't always say, fuck you and fuck this, because we are a team, and if the team doesn't succeed, we don't succeed. If he don't look good, we don't look good, as Ye said. You know, if we can't just say, we're all going to fight each other and, you know, to hell with it. Well, look, I mean, if we are stronger when we are united. We can't win if we're fighting all of each other and we're fighting them. Why are the Jews successful? They're an organized minority. We're passing the ball to the enemy team, pass the ball to our own team. They only pass the ball to each other. That's why they win. And they exacerbate those divisions. They exacerbate those conflicts. We almost need an irrational camaraderie. We need a shameless and irrational camaraderie. As long as we're motivated against this foreign occupation of our country. And people can call it hypocritical, and people can say it's inconsistent, and people can say whatever they like. And I say, fuck you. I say, whose side are you on? If you're on the side of the Gentiles, if you're on the side of the Goyim that are getting raped, if you're on the side of Americans, if you're on the side of Europeans, if you're on the side of the white race, then I say we're together. And if you're with them, then I say fuck you. You go worry about your own people. Because that's sort of what hangs people. People feel this pressure, shame, I got to say something, I got to have an opinion, but we got to be consistent. It's like with Renee Good. People said, well, if Renee Good got shot, how are we any different to justify it when we complained about Ashley Babbitt? You want to know the difference? Ashley Babbitt was one of ours. Renee Good is one of theirs. That's all you need to know. We're going to advocate for our side, and we're going to advocate for the other side. Well, the other side only advocates for themselves. We advocate for Renee Good. We advocate for Alex Preddy. We advocate for the enemy. We say, hey, well, you know, the enemy's making some good points. Well, you know, the enemy should be shown mercy. When Charlie Kirk got shot in the neck, they were celebrating. They were dancing. Their kids were celebrating. That's pure hatred. So you need to get your game face on. You need to realize we're in a fucking war. And it is not like other wars. Other wars are more pragmatic. Other wars are more practical. Everyone's wearing uniforms, and we're shooting in one direction, and they're shooting at us. It's not a war like that. It's a much more subtle and convoluted war, and we need to keep that in mind. So I'm a big believer in closing ranks. I'll tell you something. Elijah Schaffer, why is Kash Patel's wife suing him? Her girlfriend. Kash Patel's girlfriend is suing Elijah Schaffer because Elijah Schaffer said she was IDF. This is the same FBI that covered for Jeffrey Epstein. Don't forget, this guy is being targeted. Flawed as he may be, problematic. I've had my disagreements with him. Okay, this is a guy that's under attack. Never forget, when Carmelo Anthony stabbed Austin Metcalf in the neck with a knife, the black people raised $500,000 for him. And he's a fucking murderer. He is a murderer. Kill the man in cold blood, and they give him money. We have our Goyim acting a fool, and whatever. Okay, Goyim are going to goy, but they're ours. And people always got something to say. They want to participate. Consider the source. The source is a Jew. And you know, that's just how I feel about it, honestly. That's how I felt about a lot of this stuff for a long time. You know, we need to step it up and just realize whether you see us as a team or not, whether we see each other as a team, they see us as an entity that needs to be destroyed. They just see us as Goyim. You know, so-and-so says, Nick's a pedo defender. I say, well, this guy's retarded. Well, this one's low IQ. Well, this one, blah, blah. You know, we're all just Goyim to them. Don't you realize that? We're all just Goyim. None of us are getting fucking brownie points. Right? You know, we're all guilty in their eyes. To them, we are Amalekites. To them, we are Edomites. It doesn't matter. They don't discriminate. Anyway, and this is not me white knighting for anybody in particular, but I just see these two things, and I just think about the bigger picture here, which is it's all drama today. It's a big drama day. It's been a drama month. I've been at the center of drama for the past couple months. People got so much to say about me all the time. And, you know, he got the call, and he took the paycheck, and then I do my show, and I explain my viewpoints. People that say that, they don't watch the show. They watch the show, they know what I'm talking about. But I just think about the trajectory of where things are going, and we got to be honest, it's coming apart. I talked to Dan Bilzerian today. I talked to Sam Hyde. I talked to Jake Shields. I talked to Elijah. I talked to these people, and everybody's on the same page. It's not a good look. This thing is coming apart. It's not good for any of us. It's not good as a development for any of us. And, you know, we all need to grow up a little bit, me, myself included, but all of us. And, you know, we got to realize what we're up against. You got this Epstein thing. It came out a few days ago, and we got people fighting each other. And I think that what me and Jake did today is a good model. Look at all the shit that he talked about me. I said nasty things about him. We picked up the phone. We said one fucking struggle. We picked up the phone. We said, Goyim United will never be defeated. And that's all you needed to say. Shit, nigga, that's all you needed to say. Shit, Goy. What up, Goy? That's all you needed to say. That's the kind of mentality we need. So, that's just how I feel about it. For me, it's not about ego. It's not personal. I don't care. You know, he said terrible things. You know, people think all kinds of things about me. It's not about that. Okay, this is not the good evening. You're watching the Like Me show. I want everyone to like me. This is a show where we say America fucking first. We want sovereignty. I don't want to go to war with Iran. I don't want to share my country with 50 million Indians. Okay? And we need to get on the same page with this kind of stuff, and we need to present a united front. And we can disagree, and we can communicate with our disagreements, and we can talk behind the scenes. You know, but we got to be honest. It's sort of like mob mentality. It's swallowing us. It's devouring us. There is a mob mentality. There is a groupthink aspect to it. People are getting carried away. People are going over the top, and we need to focus and get back to basics. If you create a program where there's 50 things people need to agree with to be in the movement, it's going to be a very small movement indeed. We need to agree on a few things. And as far as I'm concerned, if you're against the Zionist occupation of the country, if you're against the Jewish oligarchy that's raping our country, you're on the team. You're on the side. And here is a thought. Here's something that I think people can get behind. When Charlie Kirk got shot, people said that the right-wing coalition fell apart because he built a big tent. That was his superpower, they said. He built a big tent. He built a coalition. And the big tent was filled with contradictions. It was filled with all kinds of people. But it made them powerful. It made them rich. It made Turning Point rich. It made Turning Point powerful. It made them politically impactful and influential. Charlie Kirk allegedly was mediating all of Trump's endorsements. Charlie Kirk had the president's ear. Charlie Kirk was leading by far and away the biggest, most successful political group in the country because they had a big tent. And it seems like we want to create a bunch of small tents. We need a big tent mentality that can have a Candace Owens and a Nick Fuentes, that can have a Jared Taylor and a Peter Brimelow, a Jake Shields and a Dan Bilzerian, a Myron and a Sneeko, a Kanye, a Ye. And it needs to be a big tent. It needs to include a lot of different kinds of people, and we can't be so quick to circumscribe and draw lines and divide it up, because when we do that, I mean, that's what they're doing to the Middle East. Imagine if Iran, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Turkey, and Pakistan all got together and formed a super country. They'd be unbeatable. But they're all fighting each other. We're all fighting each other while Israel grows stronger. We're all fighting each other. So, I look at a guy like Ian Carroll. Hey, man, let it go. Candace Owens, let it go. Let's squash it. Let's let it go. All these people, let's just let it go. Let's get back to basics. Let's focus up. I don't know what Tucker is. I don't know what he's about. I tried to do that with him. He snaked me. I would say the same thing to him, but I don't really know what he represents. But we do need to work on building that big tent. That doesn't mean that we lose sight of what we are, what this movement is. I think I have the strongest and biggest following maybe out of the group, and good, because my center, my nucleus is I am pro-white, pro-Christian, pro-America, Israel critical. Now there's going to be people that are a little more left-leaning, or they're going to have a different kind of viewpoint or something. We should be tolerant of that. Anyway, that's kind of my mentality right now. I see this kind of stuff and I shake my head. I told you the other night, I'm like, what are we doing? Like, what are the Goyim doing? The Goyim need to get together, man. The Goyim united will never be defeated. But we're holding a rally, nigga. And hey, what up, nigga? We are holding the rally. The Goyim united will never be defeated. They want to make us internalize hating ourselves. And we can't do that. They are trying to make us feel like Goyim. You just created 1 billion Goyim. Hey, I got a news flash. You just created 1 million Goyim. They just created 1 million Goyim army. So, yeah, Jake Shields, it's all love. He may think I'm gay. It's hard to take that one back. That one's kind of funny. That one, you can't really take that one back. He's like, the whole day, he's like, I knew he was gay from the day I met him, and so does everybody else. And I was nice to him, and blah, blah, blah. And now he's like, oh, I was mistaken. It's like, well, you know what? Honestly, it's fine. It's just honestly, I'm a little flamboyant. It's fine. But you know what? That just goes to show what a good friend he is. Let's just take that negative and turn it into a positive. That just goes to show that he's the real one. Because even though he thought I was gay, he was my friend anyway. So, thanks. That's why I appreciate it. So thanks, I guess. Real nigga. See, he didn't let that stand in the way. He said, you know what? But this guy's an OG anti-Semite. So it's kind of like, I'm trying to help myself reframe that one. We're going to do a little midrash. We're going to do a little reinterpretation of that one. No, but it's all love. We love Jake. Water under the bridge. That's how it's got to be, Here's how you got to look at it. We're like a crew. We're like a heist crew. It's like we're all a bunch of brokies. We're trying to score big at the casino. We're trying to hit the big score. And we're like a crew of a bunch of old freaks. We were all, Jake Shield is this fighter, and Dan Bilzerian's playboy gambler, and Candace Owens, this shaman. She's a sorceress, and she's smoking hot. She's a smoking hot babe. And it's kind of like we come together for one last big score, and it's like, Candace Owens, you son of a bitch. Candace Owens, I swore I thought I said the next time I see you I was going to put one between your eyes. Now what the fuck are you doing in my body shop, huh? She comes in with like Jake Shields. It's okay. We have a plan. We have a score. Okay, I'm listening. No, this is big. This one's big. All right, I'm listening. That's how we got to see it. We're like this ragtag. We don't have to love each other. We just have to hate each other less than the adversary, less than the enemy. That's the mentality. Candace Owens comes walking into my burger shop. Candace Owens, you're real courageous showing your face around these parts. I thought I said the next time I see you, I was going to put one right between your eyes. Yeah, and then, I don't know, she says some kind of cool line back. She says, shit. She says some kind of like jive talk, cool thing back at me. I can't really think of anything right now. But she says, shut your turkey ass up. She says something, shut your cracker ass up. She says something like that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just making it up. But then we score big. Then we come back together. Because at the end of the day, we're the Goyim squad. It is what they're going to hate us anyway. They will oppress us anyway. So that's how I'm thinking about the whole thing. That's a mentality we need, okay? Goyim United will never be defeated. Who do you hate more, okay? And it's not really about hatred. That's really the wrong word. I don't mean that. I mean, what really are your priorities at the end of the day? There are some people that really believe that if I didn't exist, well, everything would be fine. There are some people, they dedicate their life, we got to take this guy down. If this guy were out of the picture, well, it's like, dude, we're going to war with Iran, and you think I'm the problem? You think the Groypers are annoying sometimes. You think that's the issue? So we got to get past that. And anyone that can't is no better than an enemy. They're an agent of the Matrix. So Andrew Tate, Dan Bilzerian, Jake Shields, Myron, Sneeko, what the fuck is up, YouTube? I mean, this is the fucking squad. Goyim United, GU. That's what we're going to call ourselves. What did Myron say? Myron had some hilarious acronym about NATO. It was like niggas against Talmudics. Something. Me and Stigo were like, bruh. Myron's got the foam finger, the Cookie Monster hoodie. He's like, we're the niggas against Talmudic something. We're like, okay. We're like, all right. So anyway, that's what's up. All right, but that's that. Drama. We're shutting the drama down. No more Goy wars. Hey, no more Goy wars. If you're a Goy, you're my brother. If you are a nigga, you are a Goy, and you're my brother, okay? That's what it is. That's on Goyim. And that's on Goyim. That's on Gentile. Anyway, we're moving on. We're going to get into it. That's your positive message. So, leave these people alone, okay? Jews are trying to divide us. Jews are trying to sow discord. Jews want everybody to be fighting each other. And then they start clipping the coins. It's what they do. So, we will forgive, and I say verily to you, forgive your fellow Goyim 7 times, 70 times. Forgive your fellow Goyim 7 times 7, not 7, but 7 times 70 times. How many times are me and Jake Shields going to crash out? I don't know, 480? Forgive your fellow Goyim today. Forgive your fellow nigga today. Anyway, all right, we're going to move on. We're going to get into it. Our featured story is all about the war with Iran, okay? It's like, we're going to war with Iran, and people are saying all this other stuff. So, excuse me. Here's the state of the play. As you know, there is another huge push for regime change happening. Right now. Huge push. Netanyahu went to Mar-a-Lago on December 29th, pleading with Donald Trump to bomb Iran, and this time to bomb Iran's ballistic missiles, to bomb Iran's proxies, and effectively support a regime change war. This has been going on now for over a month. Shortly after that, there were these massive protests in Iran. Now, as I've said since the beginning of the year, it is very important to understand precisely what is going on here. These are not protests, okay? That's not what that was. People are calling it a spontaneous uprising in response to economic conditions, the collapse of the currency, run on one of the state-sponsored banks. That was merely the pretext. The situation in Iran is that for years, Israel has been conducting industrial sabotage. They are bombing Iran's factories, oil refineries, ports, their electrical grid, their vital public infrastructure. The United States has waged an economic war on Iran. These maximum pressure tariffs have prevented Iran from selling its oil at market price, prevented Iran from doing trade with Europe and the United States or any of our major trading partners. And so this has put Iran in a situation. Their people have experienced rolling brownouts, unreliable electricity, water, shortages of essential supplies. Their currency has never been weaker against the dollar. This is a situation which has been manufactured. You understand this, right? Imagine if in the United States, every week and every day, there was a unexplained explosion at our factories, our meatpacking plants, on our farms, at your electrical grid, at a power plant. And imagine if your grocery stores weren't stocked, the shelves weren't stocked every day. And imagine if you turned on the faucet, there was no water, and you turned on the lights and there was no electricity. Well, understandably, people would be angry. People would grow tired of that. They would grow restless. And imagine if that was being inflicted on your country by an outside force. You wouldn't say that, oh, well, the people just decided to get up and riot one day. You would say that this is effectively a siege. This is a modern-day siege. This is like the city is surrounded. The people are starving, they can't get anything, and they're being hit with flaming arrows every day. They're being hit with flaming rocks every day. That is what is going on. Simultaneously, Israel and the United States are backing operations inside Iran. What happened during the 6-day war with Iran last June, the 12-day war? What happened during the 12-day war between Israel and Iran last year? Israel didn't just bomb Iran's nuclear facilities, they also bombed Iran's internal security service. Why? Because in the event of an uprising, an insurrection, a protest, a foreign-backed uprising, it would be the internal security service that would put it down. It would be the internal security service that is looking for Mossad and CIA agents and hanging them. It would be the internal security service that is looking for the truck bombs and for the shipping containers that contain drones or missile launchers. In the event of an insurrection, it would be the security service that is responding to these coordinated attacks. So Iran's internal security was degraded heavily in the final days of the 12-day war. Now, what happens in the first week of January While Netanyahu is at Mar-a-Lago, Netanyahu is there at Mar-a-Lago pleading with Trump to bomb Iran. All of a sudden, you get this spontaneous uprising. They say it's because the economy is bad. But do you know what else is happening? In the west of the country, for the most part in the west, you have, and this is reported by reputable sources like the Financial Times and others, you have reports of men clad in all black with fully automatic rifles storming government buildings. This is happening in Iranian Kurdistan, which borders Iraqi Kurdistan. Do you know what's happening in Iraqi Kurdistan? Well, the United States is moving all of its troops from Baghdad to Iraqi Kurdistan. The U.S. isn't leaving Iraq. They're just going to the Kurdish part of Iraq, because that is the part of Iraq that is semi-autonomous, effectively self-governing, independent from the central government in Baghdad. And the U.S. has bases there. The CIA, the DOD has made inroads there. They have allies there, and so has Israel. The Kurds are the closest ally of Israel and the United States. They're also bordering Azerbaijan, which is an ally of Israel, longtime intelligence and military supplying ally. Israel and Azerbaijan, Israel and Baku. So Iran's border with Azerbaijan and Iran's border with Iraq in the west is being flooded, is effectively being invaded by all of these operatives wearing all black, carrying automatic rifles with a plan, taking over government buildings. Now, what do you think this is? This is a systematic, multi-year regime change war. They got Trump elected the first time to rip up the nuclear deal so that we could destroy them with sanctions. And then Israel came in after the deal was ripped up and started doing industrial sabotage, sabotaging infrastructure. All this time, we have been furnishing the Kurds and Baloch separatists, Israel and the United States, with weapons. And so now that we have destroyed their nuclear facilities, the two vital facilities in their nuclear complex, at Natanz, Fordo, also Esfahan, now that that nuclear hedge is sufficiently weakened, now we're bringing the real economic pain. Now we're bringing in the ground force. What is going to be the ground force that overthrows Iran? Combination of Kurds, Baloch people, Turkic people, maybe people sympathetic to the old regime, the Shah, liberals, students, young people. That is going to be the ground force. And by the way, that was the same playbook in Syria. Exactly the same playbook. Do you know what happened in 2007 in Syria? In 2007, Israel suspected that Syria was working on nuclear weapons. So Israel launched a unilateral airstrike, and they bombed Syria's nuclear weapons facilities. 4 years later, you get the Arab Spring, which starts in Tunisia, spreads across Libya, Egypt, then it goes right up into the Middle East, into Syria. And that's when the U.S. and Israel start funding al-Qaeda, start funding these Sunni extremists that just got finished with the civil war in Iraq. We start funding al-Nusra Front. We start funding the Peshmerga, the Kurds. And that was our ground force. The U.S. was the air force. ISIS was the ground force. Al-Qaeda was the ground force. The Kurds were the ground force. And all the while, again, first, Israel took out their nuclear hedge. Then it was the insurrection, which was the ground force. Then it was the U.S., which was the air force, coupled with the crippling sanctions on the economy and oil. And that's how Syria in 2007 is solid under the Assad regime with a chemical and nuclear weapons arsenal, goes to a civil war in 2011, and the government is overthrown by December of 2024. It's the same playbook in Iran. Bomb the nuclear hedge, maximum pressure economics. We're going to now fund the ethnic separatists, these ethnic and religious minorities inside the country, the rebels, the moderate opposition that opposes Islamism. and we're going to be the Air Force. That's the play. That is what they're building here. That's the move. So Netanyahu comes to Mar-a-Lago for the 5th time. We need a war with Iran. What a coincidence. Just in time for the uprising, just in time for the most violent uprising since 2022, since the Green Revolution 15 years ago. And what made it the bloodiest revolution? It wasn't the biggest in scope. It wasn't the biggest in number. This was the bloodiest protest because it was effectively an invasion. It was masked, uniformed operatives, armed, storming Iranian government buildings to overthrow the government. And it looks like Iran shut it down. What did Iran do? They just started shooting these people. They put it down like they always do, violently. They crushed it. And you know what else they did? They shut off the internet. Now, curiously, when they shut down the internet, the whole thing stopped. Do you know who the internet provider was? It was Starlink. Elon Musk, one of the biggest defense contractors in the world, it was Elon Musk's Starshield, which is an extension of its Starlink program, was providing satellite internet to the protesters. Okay, so where's all this coming from? Where are the weapons coming from? Where's the internet coming from? Where is the economic pressure coming from? It's coming from here. It's coming from Washington. It's coming from Tel Aviv. Now, the protest was crushed. As you know, it was claimed that Trump was moments away from authorizing a strike on Iran. The jets were in the air. The bombers were in the air. We were ready to go and bomb Iran. But the strike was called off at the last minute. Why? Well, what they said is that we didn't have a big enough force package. We only had a few destroyers off the coast of the Middle East. I believe in the Eastern Mediterranean, although I'm not exactly sure the precise location. You had about a half dozen ships, including 3 destroyers. And that was not enough in terms of radar, early warning system, missile detection, but also in terms of Minuteman missiles, Patriot batteries, also in terms of an air force. We did not have enough defensive and offensive capability forward deployed to engage Iran in any kind of protracted conflict. In other words, one, if we attacked Iran, it wouldn't be a killing blow. With only a handful of destroyers and the existing presence in the region, we could not launch a killing blow against the Iranian regime. And if we couldn't take them out, they would retaliate. And their retaliation would have been catastrophic because without warning, without Iran restraining themselves, we would have no way of knowing which targets they would strike, when, and whether they would use hypersonics, whether there would be some kind of forewarning. And we can't defend the whole Middle East at once. We can't defend all of Israel and our bases in Jordan and Syria and Iraq and Qatar and the Emirates. We can't defend the whole Middle East from a surprise missile attack, especially if it's overwhelming. So it was said that Trump called off the strike at the last minute because it wouldn't topple the regime, and therefore it would lead to a retaliation which we were not equipped to defend against. Now, what is the implication of this? The implication is that Trump is apparently now seeking regime change. They buried the lead. Trump said, well, I was going to bomb Iran, but it wouldn't do regime change, so I called it off. And we're supposed to say, what a relief. My question is, regime change is the policy now? That wasn't the policy a year ago. That wasn't the policy during the election. In the 2024 election, he said no new wars. A war with Iran is a pretty substantial war. It's 3 times the size of Iraq. It's got a population of 90 million. They have a 1 million man army. They've got thousands of missiles. They've got a navy. They've got a pretty serious arsenal. So, Trump said during the election, no new wars. I guess regime change is now on the table. That's what we're planning. Even in 2025, when we engaged Iran, we engaged with them diplomatically over their nuclear program. We said, listen, we want Iran to be integrated into the economy. We want to normalize relations. And we said, you can even have a nuclear program. We said, the only thing is you can't enrich. We said, keep your missiles, keep your proxies, and as a matter of fact, keep Bushehr, keep your nuclear power plant. We said, but the enrichment needs to be overseen by us. So you can do it in Saudi Arabia, you can do it in an island, you can't do it there. And we bombed them, apparently, nominally, ostensibly, because they wouldn't give it up. And Trump declared victory because he said, well, now Iran can't enrich. So that is why that was heralded as a success. That was the pretext for it. They said it's their nuclear enrichment capability. Now it's regime change. So you go from no new wars to, well, we need to bomb their nuclear enrichment, otherwise it's fine, to now, well, we can't bomb them because it wouldn't succeed in regime change. And at what point was that determination made? I guess that determination was made during that meeting. I guess Netanyahu made Trump an offer he couldn't refuse, because that is where that decision was made, at least on our side. As I've told you, Israel has sought regime change from the beginning of the Iranian regime, but apparently this decision was made that we're going to act on this recently. So, Trump called off the strike because we didn't have enough guns. Well, then Trump sought to remedy this. So we are sending a carrier strike group to the Middle East. That's 3 destroyers and the USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier. F-35 fighter jets, other strike aircraft, 50,000 soldiers, personnel are in the region right now. Military transport planes, cargo planes, refueling aircraft. We're moving in THAAD systems, Patriot missile batteries. We're putting a ton of force in the region, offensive and defensive capabilities to confront Iran. Now, the USS Abraham Lincoln just arrived in this theater of conflict last week, the closing days of January. It got as far as the Gulf of Oman. And Trump issued an ultimatum. Trump said on Truth Social, if Iran does not accede to our demands, then we will tackle the Iranian regime. And the demands are, Iran has to limit the range of its missiles such that they cannot reach Israel and reduce the number of missiles. The other demand is they have to stop all their support for their proxies, like the Popular Mobilization Force in Iraq, Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas in Gaza, Palestinian Islamic Jihad in the West Bank, the Houthis in Yemen, and lastly, most importantly, they would have to give up their stockpile of highly enriched uranium, give up their centrifuges, disclose the locations of the remaining nuclear facilities, and have the IAEA come in and oversee their dismantling. And these are the most maximal demands possible. We're effectively telling Iran they must make themselves defenseless. Iran is defiant. They say absolutely not. Well, it looks like Iran called Trump's bluff. Trump actually withdrew the USS Abraham Lincoln from the Gulf of Oman back to the Arabian Sea. There were some developments today that were a bit contentious. A couple of Iranian boats tried to seize a U.S. oil tanker, but they failed. At the same time, an Iranian drone, a Shahed drone, was surveilling the USS Abraham Lincoln in the Persian Gulf, in the Gulf of Oman, and an F-35 fighter jet shot down that Iranian drone. So we shot down an Iranian drone, and Iranian boats tried to seize and capture a U.S. oil tanker. So it looks like we are on the cusp. We're locked and loaded. We have all these aircraft. We have all these defense systems in place. We have the carrier there. Trump has issued his demands. We have shot down an Iranian drone. But it all changed today when apparently there was a diplomatic breakthrough. And now Iran says that they are open to negotiating. Turkey, Qatar, Saudi Arabia pleaded with the United States for Washington to negotiate with Iran. They don't want a war. And so these countries were begging us not to go to war. And it's pretty clear why. These are status quo powers. Turkey, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Pakistan, are now forming a loose confederation with each other and with Iran on the basis that they are defenders of Islamism, on the basis that they are countering Israel, maybe countering the influence of the United States as well. And these countries are getting together and they want to stabilize the region. They don't want Iran to fall apart. Think about, for example, Saudi Arabia's plan. Under Mohammed bin Salman, they have a new plan that by 2030 they want to make the kingdom a destination for tourism. They want to make it a technological hub. They want to make it a transportation hub. Why? Because oil is going out of style. Oil is becoming cheaper, not more expensive. People are transitioning to renewables and other forms of energy. And Saudi Arabia knows that if its economic future is bound up with oil, that they can expect decreasing revenue in the future. The U.S. is now the #1 oil producer by far. Russia's #2. We're discovering new energy all the time. There's this huge transition happening, getting us away from combustion engines and towards electric in China, in the United States, and Europe. Saudi Arabia wants to transition from a petrostate to an economy based on tourism, technology, transportation. Well, it's hard to attract wealthy people and tourists if there's missiles hurtling at your country. If Iran implodes and there's a regional war and the Houthis are lobbing missiles at the eastern oil fields, at the eastern province, if they're lobbing missiles at Riyadh, if they're lobbing missiles at the Line and Jeddah Tower and at Dubai, this is bad for these countries. So they don't want that. They're trying to stabilize. They're begging the United States, please don't go to war with Iran or we're screwed. And every country has their own stake in this, but they made their appeal to Trump not to go to war. And so they scheduled a negotiation for Friday. It will be another indirect negotiation, just like last year. Last year, there were 5 rounds of talks between the Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and the Iranian Foreign Minister Araghchi. And these were held indirectly in Oman, in other countries. And the way they did it is they had the negotiators in 2 different rooms, and they had intermediaries pass the messages along. The Iranians insisted, and it came from the Ayatollah, that the negotiations could not be direct. So, like those negotiations, these will be indirect. They will be mediated by those countries, by Oman, Turkey, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the Emirates. Initially, they were going to be held in Turkey. Now, apparently, they're being held in Oman. And there's some particularities about these negotiations. So again, the way that all of this started last year, you have to think about the various positions here. So what is Washington's beef with Iran? Our problem is their Iranian nuclear program, specifically their ability to enrich. And what does that mean? They take uranium, they subject it to this process, and when they achieve, scientists, okay, but when they enrich it to a certain level of purity, they can use it in a nuclear bomb. So it is Iran's ability to refine plutonium and enrich uranium, which without observation and supervision, without oversight, they could, if they so chose, build a nuclear arsenal. Now, the U.S. is the guarantor of world order and stability, facing no challenge from a great power rival. Our biggest fear is that some revisionist power, some rogue state, will get a nuclear bomb, they'll get a deterrent, and then they could destabilize the world or threaten the United States. So we don't want any country to have this ability unless they have extraordinary U.S. oversight and assurances. So we don't want them to have enrichment. That's our red line. And that was a negotiation last year. We came to Iran and said, look, we don't want to talk about your missiles. We don't want to talk about your proxies. We don't even want to talk about nuclear energy. We want to strictly focus on enrichment. We said, keep your nuclear power plant, keep your other stuff, but you can't have highly enriched uranium and you can't have centrifuges. If you want to operate centrifuges, you can do so, but you got to do it somewhere else. Somewhere where we can watch over it and we can shut it down and we can control the flow of the enriched uranium. And it was their refusal to give up their ability to enrich which led to the war last year. Well, think of the starting point in negotiations now. Trump's demands now concern 3 different files. There's the missiles, there's the proxies, and there's nuclear. We are now telling them you can't support the proxies, you can't have your missiles, and you can't have enrichment. Iran is not going to agree even to negotiate on the other things. For them, it is a red line to even discuss that. It's just not on the table. Iran will not even entertain the notion that they would ever stop supporting their proxies, that they would ever give up their missiles, because they see that as this enormous imposition. Iran has a right to defend itself. Israel is an aggressor. And in the end, Iran's missiles are the only deterrent from Israel attacking it. Iran's proxies are a deterrent, and they're a part of Iran's public diplomacy and their foreign policy. So they don't even want that to be a part of the discussion. But that is what Trump started with. Trump said, this time, you got to give up the missiles, give up the proxies, and enrichment. And Iran said, no way. No, that's not even on the table. Well, now they've agreed to negotiate. Why? Well, it's interesting. Steve Witkoff went to Israel today to speak with the Israelis, and he left that meeting and said, we only discussed nuclear. He said, when we met with the Israelis today, we didn't talk about missiles, we didn't talk about proxies, we only talked about nuclear. And so it seems that going into these negotiations, the United States has agreed that we will only talk nuclear. We're not going to talk about the other stuff. And on that basis, diplomacy can begin. And the Ayatollah has given approval to the president, Pezeshkian, who's a moderate and arguably a reformer. The Ayatollah has given the president permission to authorize these negotiations under the condition that they only be about the nuclear, that they are not direct. Again, it's going to be indirect. And that these negotiations, just like last year, they're actually just a framework for future negotiations. These are the games that are played. So this negotiation is about other negotiations. They're going to sit down on Friday to talk about if they're even going to talk at all. And they're going to gauge whether the U.S. is going to push them on everything or just nuclear, and what they're willing to give. Now, we find ourselves in the same boat that we did a year ago, exactly a year ago. In February of 2025, Netanyahu came to the White House. I think it was actually February 4th, today, 2025, that Netanyahu went to the White House and asked us to bomb Iran. And Mike Waltz was pushing us to do it, and Trump said no. And ultimately, when Netanyahu came back in April, Trump said, you know what, we're going to negotiate, we'll give them 60 days, and if they don't make a deal, then we'll bomb them. And we played this game last year. The first and second round of negotiations were exactly like this. They were held in Oman. Witkoff and Araghchi met, and it wasn't even a real negotiation. It was a framework. In the first and second round of negotiations last April, they met in Oman. They met indirectly. The Ayatollah was trepidatious, but gave the green light, and the foreign minister came out, and in those first 2 rounds, they said it was productive, we had a great meeting, we feel very good about it. But those 2 meetings were about the framework for future meetings. In other words, they didn't even talk about nuclear. They talked about what they were going to talk about. They said, are you going to only talk about nuclear? Yes. Okay. Are you really acting in good faith? Yes. Okay. And by the time they got to the 3rd meeting and they actually sat down, they found out that they had irreconcilable, intractable positions. When they got there for the 3rd meeting last year, Witkoff sat down and said, you can never enrich uranium, non-negotiable. And Iran said, well, we're never giving that up. It is our right to enrich. We fought very hard for it, and that's our red line. And it didn't go so well. Then we did a 4th one, same thing. Then we did a 5th one, it got aborted, we rescheduled it, came together, very bad. Then we went to war. Actually, scratch that, then Israel went to war. Israel triggered the war by launching a preemptive attack on Iran. They got shit on for 2 weeks, And then we were forced to come to their rescue, hit Iran, finish the job, and then hold everybody in restraint. That was how the first war went. Well, here we are again, locked and loaded, making demands. We have a framework for negotiations. But it's like I said last week, here's how this is going to play out. Our position has not changed. We are giving these maximalist demands. No proxies, no missiles, no this, or else. At the end of the day, though, our sticking point, our final price, is you cannot enrich. And that's their sticking point, too. And if anything, they're more dug in on it than they were before. Because what has taken place since the last time is that we did a sneak attack on them. Under the aegis of negotiations, we got them to lower their guard so that Israel could bomb them, which Trump then said he knew about the whole time, and he tricked the Iranians intentionally, and then we launched a sneak attack on them. And after this, Iran expelled the IAEA negotiators and swore they would never negotiate with us again. Well, here we are. If anything, it's worse than it was before. I said this last week. Even on the offhand chance that these negotiations succeed, okay, think of it. The U.S. and Iran are coming to the table in Oman, and they've got their partners with them too. They've got Egypt and Qatar and Turkey and Saudi Arabia, Pakistan. All of these countries are urging both sides to de-escalate because nobody wants this war. Well, nobody other than one. And so the U.S. and Iran are sad. They've got all their friends with them. There have been some new developments that have changed the landscape in the Middle East, some notable ones which we could get into. The U.S. does not want a war with Iran. And the reason being is because we really can't win a war with Iran. If we go to war with Iran, it's going to be long and drawn out. And we're going to bleed, okay? Soldiers are going to die because Iran is going to bomb them and we won't be able to shoot down all the missiles. And Israel is going to be paralyzed because their country is small. They can't have missiles raining down on them every day, and they won't be able to shoot them all down. And what are we going to do? Just launch airstrikes? You can't airstrike Iran into submission. You can't airstrike Iran into regime change. It just doesn't work. You need to have some kind of ground force there. So it's going to be, in a word, complicated. It will not be quick and dirty. It's not going to be quick and easy. It's going to be very unpredictable. It could be very protracted and messy and bloody. And it's a midterm year, so this is difficult for Trump. He doesn't really want to risk it. We are here in February. If this thing goes on, it's going to hurt him in the polls. So Iran doesn't want to be destroyed. The U.S. doesn't really want to go to war because we can't win. We want a deal. They want a deal. Maybe there could be a creative solution. Who knows? Like I said last week, it's going to be difficult, maybe impossible, for U.S. and Iran to build rapport, to have a rapprochement, to negotiate some solution that we could both live with. However, and here's the catch, even on the offhand chance that we are able to trust them or for them to trust us, even on the offhand chance that we are able to cut a deal, do you know who's going to rain on everybody's parade? Israel. Because you know what Israel said after the meeting? They said, well, you can never trust the Iranians. So Witkoff meets with the Israelis. Now he's on his way to Oman to set up for this meeting. The Israelis say, well, you can never trust the Iranians, and we're really worried. We are afraid that the U.S. is going to make a deal that we can't live with, and we need them to not only give up enrichment, but also their missiles and their proxies. Because remember, our problem with Iran is the centrifuges. Israel's problem with Iran is the missiles and the proxies and the centrifuges. That's why Netanyahu asked Trump to bomb Iran in December. He wanted us to bomb the missiles. So Israel will find a way to spoil the talks. They will find a way to derail it. And how are they going to do that? False flag. How are they going to do that? Disinfo. They will launch a provocation of their own. Because you got to consider the limits of every country's negotiating position. Iran is controlled by the Ayatollah, excuse me, by the Ayatollah. Iran has a president, Iran has a council of jurists, but sitting on top of all of it is the supreme leader, the Ayatollah. He's got the final say. And the Ayatollah doesn't trust the United States. The Ayatollah doesn't trust these negotiations, and he never has. And he doesn't want to give up enrichment. Now, if these talks are, let's say, unsuccessful, if there's any signs of doubt, maybe the U.S. or Israel does something that causes Iran not to trust us, they are very cautious. They could pull the rug. What's more, if Israel does something provocative, the Iranian people are going to be outraged, and the Ayatollah won't be able to continue to give the green light for the talks. So Iran does not have a blank check to make a deal. Neither do we. Deterrence is a factor. We don't want to lose face. There's all kinds of reasons why this is a very delicate procedure. And Israel, basically, they have an unlimited number of options to derail this and mess with it in some way. And that is my prediction. I think that there are two willing sides that want to find an off-ramp here. Iran knows that if it starts, it ends in them ultimately in chaos. And we know that if it starts, it's going to be unpredictable. We're going to take some shots. It's going to be difficult for us. We don't really want to do it either. This is Israel's endgame. Israel wants to drive us into a war so that we decapitate Iran, and then that is basically their last real enemy that is defeated. This is what Israel wants. And then that whole region, from Lebanon all the way to Iran, is completely destabilized. Lebanon is destabilized. Syria is destabilized. Iraq is destabilized. Iran is destabilized. And think of who the beneficiaries are. Israel and the Emirates and India and Greece and others. These are revisionist powers. Israel and the Emirates want Yemen to be in a civil war forever so that they could create a new country that they control. They want Iraq and Syria to be in a civil war forever so that they can create a new country that they can control. Same thing in Sudan. The Emirates, Israel, these revisionist powers in the region, they want Sudan to explode into a million pieces. They want a Druze state in southern Syria. They want a southern Yemen state, southern Yemeni state like there was 30 years ago. And they want that in Iran. Maybe they want a Kurdistan. Maybe they'll want to redraw the borders so you have Kurdistan that stretches from Rojava through Iraq into Iran. And maybe they want a Druze state in Syria, and then they want a Sunni state in Syria, and then they want to divide up the Middle East so that it is favorable for their geopolitical interests. That's the end game. And they don't care how many people die. They don't care how many people are killed. They don't care about regional stability. They don't care about the price tag for the United States. This is their end game. So people say, what does an America First foreign policy look like? I'll tell you what it looks like. Israel and the Emirates are hurting us. These countries want us to die and go bankrupt so that they can grow more powerful. We need to restrain both of them. Mohammed bin Zayed, Netanyahu both need to be restrained. Trump needs to work with Erdogan, needs to work with, unfortunately, Al-Shara, needs to work with MBS, needs to work with Doha, needs to work with Pakistan, and try to hold the Middle East together. Why? So that we can leave. We need a security architecture that Iran is integrated into so that the region can begin to stabilize. Yes, we actually want Syria to stabilize. We want Syria to be one country. We want Yemen to be one country. We want Sudan to be one country. We want Iraq and Iran to be one country. We want strong central governments that can control what happens inside their borders. We want peace between the countries so that it is stable. And if it is stable, then we can withdraw those 50,000 troops that are in the region. And we can focus on the Pacific, which is the Indo-Pacific, which is really the most important region. We can focus on the Caribbean. We have to be over there to babysit these people. We have to be over there to prevent this whole region from blowing up Strait of Hormuz gets closed, catastrophic for oil prices. We have to worry about the emergence of Islamist fundamentalism again. So we should be trying to stabilize the region so that we can focus on the higher priority regions, the Caribbean and Latin America, the Pacific, the Arctic. These are the areas where we are being challenged. We are being challenged in Greenland, or will be. We are being challenged in the First Island chain. We are being challenged in Central South America and the Caribbean. So, if you want a very clear and nuanced understanding, people say, oh, well, it's like Israel's causing all the wars. It's like Israel and the Emirates are revisionist powers that are overturning the existing order. Basically, they favor chaos. They want chaos, instability, conflict, because weaker countries can pursue opportunities in that environment. When there is chaos and conflict, that's when the Emirates can use its military and its intelligence, and they can use their money to pay a mercenary army to go and plant a flag on the coast of the Red Sea, on the coast of the Gulf of Aden. And that is how they develop a colony. That is how they develop an overseas colony. And that is what Israel is doing. Israel can take land in Lebanon. Israel can take land in Syria. Israel can gain new allies and weaken adversaries with all of this chaos. They can open up a front against Iran. If Iran has no missiles and no nuclear deterrent, and if the proxies are destroyed, then their airspace is controlled by Israel, and Israel can just bomb and degrade Iran's military with impunity. That just means fewer guns pointed at Israel. But then we are caught holding the bag, because we got to be there. If Israel is threatened in any way, they will unleash a nuclear bomb, and we can't allow that. So now we got to have our aircraft carriers there to make sure that everything goes according to Israel's plan. So Israel is driving us into the mud. We are being driven into the muck. We will die here. This is a graveyard of our fucking country. We'll be fighting in the Middle East for 50 years to make sure that Israel never gets threatened and goes nuclear. And in the meantime, we are losing in the actual regions that matter to us, like the Indo-Pacific, like the Caribbean. Those are legitimate interests for the United States. We need ships. We need to go to Taiwan to get them. The Caribbean, that's our neighborhood. If you have a Chinese shipping container missile launch platform in Cuba, that's a problem. That's a legitimate place for us to intervene. I don't want two carrier strike groups in the Eastern Med and the Indian Ocean. I want them in the Caribbean. I want them in the Sea of Japan. That's where they need to be. So, anyway, that is the situation with Iran. I don't think that a war is imminent, but I do think a war is inevitable. We're going to have these negotiations on Friday. Who knows? Maybe there'll be a surprise attack before then. You never know. Who knows? Maybe that's the pretext. I think, however, that Trump is just bluffing. I think that the last-minute call-off was a bluff. I think that this is a bluff. I think that all of this is meant to extract a concession. And by the way, let me tell you something else. Trump sees the world as a chessboard. Everything is connected to everything else. Like Nixon, like Reagan. And I'm not a Reagan or Nixon glazer, but I do admire their geopolitical thinking. What do I mean by this? Think of the timeline. Trump kidnapped Maduro in the first week of January. Then you get these protests in Iran, and Trump says, knock it off, or you're next. And then we pull up with the Armada. Well, this is the United States. Give up your nukes or else. Trump realizes that you leverage one into the other. What happens when you kidnap Maduro? There's a word for this. It's called deterrence. You are reestablishing deterrence. You're giving credibility to the deterrent threat. And what that means is we sent an armada to Venezuela. We bombed some of their boats. We did a ground strike. We bombed one of their ports. We said, if you don't listen, you're finished. They didn't listen. We kidnapped their guy. You don't want that to happen. You don't want the United States to rappel down from helicopters and pluck your guy out of the Capitol and take him to the United States. So we reestablished the credibility of our deterrent threat. In other words, we made a promise and we kept it. Now other countries will believe us when we make a threat. We made a threat. We followed through on it. Now when we bring our armada to Iran, and similarly we say, obey us or else, and we start shooting down drones and we start doing things, now they're going to take that more seriously. And so properly understood, this is a continuation of what happened a year ago. It's a continuation of what happened in 2020 between the U.S. and Iran. Now, again, that is how Trump plays. That's how he negotiates. The wrench in all of this is that Israel is always forcing our hand. Maybe that's a good strategy, and maybe that there's a logic to that. However, the trouble with brinksmanship, going to the brink of war, playing a game of chicken, is that when you have a third party like Israel who wants to see the war, well, they are going to sabotage the game. If the game is to persuade Iran that they are miscalculating and we will bomb them and they will die and the Ayatollah will be kidnapped and so on and so forth, so they better comply. If that is the game and we're trying to extract that without going to war, well, Israel is going to try to create uncertainty. And they're going to try to drive the U.S. and Iran into a situation where they have to go to war. And that is what that is what Israel did last year. That is what they tried to do in 2024. They did this in April and July of 2024 when Biden was president, when they bombed the IRGC in Damascus, when they killed Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran, and they did it in June of 2025 when they launched their preemptive strike on Iran. So that's always the rub. People say, well, trust the plan. This is brinksmanship. Trump is a genius. And I think that is what he intends to do. But you have this third party which is very interested in all of that failing and to get a real war. So I think that's a situation. I think that Trump is bluffing, but that doesn't mean we're out of the woods. Trump is bluffing. He did deploy it, and it's not a super carrier. It's one of these older carriers, the Lincoln. It's only one. It's not two. And that doesn't mean it's not a lethal force package, but it's not as big as it was, and it's not enough to finish the job. Arguably, we don't have enough of anything to finish the job. I mean, if Iran starts lobbing missiles out, we're kind of just cooked at that point. So I think Trump intends to bluff, and I think Iran is going to try to buy time, but I think Israel is going to try to sabotage. That's the great game. Iran is buying time. The U.S. is looking for an off-ramp, but might be forced to pull the trigger. These other countries are trying to resolve this. All these, like I said, this what they're calling the Islamic axis, Egypt, Turkey, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, they're trying to make this peace happen. But the revisionist power, Israel, they're trying to blow it all up. So that's that. All right, we're out of time. I do want to move on. I want to get into our super chats, but we'll be paying very close attention to that. It's a shame. Friday, we're doing our Epstein Super Show. Tune in on Friday because I'll be talking all about the Jeffrey Epstein Network and the relationship with the Trump administration. I'm going to be doing a special on Friday. So we'll have to talk Monday about the results of these negotiations. But that's all I got for you tonight. We're going to take a look at our super chats. We'll see what you guys have to say. Let me take a look. Nobody else is going to give you all this information. Nobody else is going to give you all this perspective, okay? You have all these people shitting on me. Hey, he took the 7,000. Oh, he's with the Jews, whatever. It's like, look, I just happen to be the nerd that you call. I'm the guy that puts it together. It's easy to just press the button and say, Jew, Jew, Jew. We need to be able to explain exactly what is happening in the world with detail and precision. We need to be guided by the facts. You have to have an understanding. Anyway, I just have to say that because it's funny. You get these knuckleheads that are saying, you're not sufficiently critical. It's like, I know what you're looking for. I know what you want. But what we need is a nuanced and robust and airtight explanation of how Jews operate in the world. And very few people can provide that. All right, let's take a look. Let's see. Well, what do you have to say? Now it's America's turn. What do you have to say? We're going to take a look at our super chats. Let's see what we got.
Brown sent $20. Don't you face bomb me? Fair enough. With only so many text words. I sounded like True going. What's your exhortation for young AFWD/enthusiasts who aren't cognizant of how to start in politics or being coherent and portraying through local groups or social media?
Every day. How do I get involved in politics? If you don't know, then you shouldn't start. That's my honest advice. Honest advice, if you have to ask, don't worry about it. If you know, you know. Because we're looking for people that can take initiative. I get this all the time. People say, can I work for you? I'll do anything. And you go, no. You don't bring anything to the table. If somebody wants to work for me, you need to tell me what you can do. If somebody wants to work for me, here's an idea. Work for me. Make an edit. Make a clipping channel. Provide some fucking value. Take some initiative. You think I want to hire somebody that just needs to be told what to do? So first you unzip it, then you unbutton, then you take it out, then you let it go. Then when you're done, you wipe yourself. And I don't need people that I have to train, teach, tell what to do. I need people that have a skill set and can take initiative. So people say, well, what can we do? How do we start? If you're asking that, you're not what we're looking for. If we're looking for people that need to be told what to do, hey, well, I don't know, maybe get a broom. Maybe get a bucket and a mop. But if you really want to be a part of this, be a part of it. People say, how? Figure it out. People do it every day, all the time. What is politics? Hey, here's an idea. Join a college Republican. Run for state rep. Run for city council. Start a clipping channel. I don't know. Post information on the internet. Start writing. Do original research. Make a YouTube video. Anybody can do it. Anybody can do anything, and you figure it out as you go along. What are you good at? What are you good at? Do it. And then come to me in 3 months and say, hey, Nick, I ran for state rep and I won. Thanks for all the advice, blah, blah, blah. That's what I want. I want somebody to say, hey, Nick, I'm the president of my college Republicans. I've secured the next 3 presidents are going to be Groypers. I got a job lined up in the admin. I want to hear, hey, I got a Founders Fund company. I'm in the ISI fellowship. I'm in this, that, or the other. Those are the people that I talk to. Those are the people that I give them the time of day. But we got no shortage of people that are casuals. They get ramped up watching the show. They say, hey, how can I get involved? And you go, you're useless. Where are you gonna be in 3 weeks? You're gonna fuck off and do something else. So that is my exhortation. You want an exhortation? You want a kick in the ass? Here's a little piece of advice about life. No one will tell you how to make money. No one will tell you how to get power. No one will tell you how to get ahead. You need to take accountability and figure it out. We need entrepreneurial thinking. We need startup energy. We need people with initiative. We need self-starters. Don't be ashamed. Everybody has to start somewhere. Ask ChatGPT. Don't be, honest to God, don't be ashamed. Everybody starts somewhere. Do something badly. Be a failure first. Whatever it is you want to do. But start something. And make a plan and work your network. Use the skills that you have. Use the resources you have, connections. Find a way to get involved. Build something. You have to prove yourself. It's not hard. Honestly, it's not hard. Because nobody's trying. Nobody gives a shit. Just start showing up somewhere. In a year, you'll be the number 3 guy. Literally. Just start fucking showing up somewhere. People say, where? Anywhere. Anywhere. You show up anywhere on a consistent basis for a year, 2 years, you'll be running the thing. Seriously. A business, a political campaign, your local college Republican chapter, your local young Republican thing, your local Republican Party. It's not hard. Show up, be energetic, ask questions, do your homework, you know. But that's what I tell people. People are always asking me, I'm an enthusiast. How do I start in politics? You know, if you have to ask me that, frankly, fuck you. If you have, and I'm not saying that because I don't like you, but I'm saying if you have to ask that, go fuck yourself. Where do I start? Really? You know what that tells me? It tells me you don't have a clue. You don't have a fucking clue. You're asking me? That's where you start? Go online. It's easy. Why don't you use your head? If you have to ask me where to start, you know, you don't have what it takes. So I hope you're asking for a friend, and it's not you. You figure out where to start. You want advice? Once you got something going, I'd be happy to give you advice. Happy to give you advice for free and help you and problem solve and all of it. But you're asking me, hey, where do I get my start? You know, you figure it out, pal. People do it every day. How do I get my start? It should be obvious. If it's not obvious, hey, you haven't even thought about it. And what does that say about you? Shows me you should be a wagey. That's my advice. That's tough. It's tough love, but it's what you need to hear. If you're a young man, this is the words that I needed to hear. Well, I didn't need to hear it. I just did it. You know what I did when I was in high school? I just looked for every opportunity. Every and any opportunity. I went to the high school Republican chapter meeting, and I was on Model UN, and I did a radio show and talked about politics. I did a high school TV show and I talked about politics. I was on Twitter. When I graduated high school, I started a blog, and I just sent it to everybody I knew. Where do I start? Anywhere. Just start. When I graduated high school, I bought NicholasJFuentes.com. I made a WordPress site. I don't know a fucking thing about computers, and I don't write. And I just started writing. I just started a blog, and I wrote these articles every day. No one told me what to do, how to do it, and I just sent them to my neighbor, to my dad, my dad's friends, the people I like. I just sent it to everybody I knew. And then I was on Twitter, and I found these guys that did a Trump podcast, and they had a website called Regated, and it was some stupid small website, and I started submitting my writing, and I said, hey, take a look at my writing. Hey, take a look at this. I applied. They brought me on as a writer. They didn't pay me, but I got on the Slack channel, and people liked the writing, and you know what? Roseanne Barr posted one of my articles once. Can you believe that? Some Jew on Facebook saw my pro-Trump article and said, hey, I know Roseanne. Would you like me to send it to her? I said, sure. Pizza Party Ben posted an article. Like, this is how I got my start. And then when I got to college, I was on Twitter. I took every opportunity. I wore my MAGA hat, free advertising. I went to the daily paper. They wanted me to be in their piece. A little bit of publicity. Then I got to know Cassie Dillon. I kissed her ass. I got a show. Okay, this is what you do. You just do a bunch of... I'm telling you my story. This is what you do. I was on Jim Durkin's Youth Leadership Advisory Council in high school. It's like the Republican minority leader in the state legislature had like a youth group. I went to that. I got in touch with his assistant. I asked him how to trade stocks. I got lunch with him and his buddy. And they try to teach me how to trade stocks. Like, I was just doing a bunch of different stuff. I was just getting it going, Get some fucking motion going. Get it going. Get the word out. Talk to people. Just start doing something. That's my advice. And then one thing leads to another. So, there you go, Goy. There you go, young Goy. Go out and do something. Otherwise, if not, you're going to be shining my shoes. The money's out there. You pick it up, it's yours. If not, you're going to be shining my shoes. Close. Okay, that's the message.
Gotham on 07 sent $30. Leon Blackson of Eli Black, who won United Fruit Company in the 60s. In the 50s, the CIA overthrew Arbenz in Guatemala to secure banana exports for UFC, partly because CIA had extensive ties to the Co. Files are full of 2ND/3RD order connections to US and Israeli intel like this. We should focus on these, not occult conjecture.
And Leon Black's son is on the Development Finance Corporation in this Trump administration. Okay? So think of this. Epstein got most of his fortune from Leon Black and Les Wexner. Leon Black's dad made his fortune through his CIA connections in these banana republics in Central America. Leon Black's kid is running the Development Finance Corporation in the Trump admin. He's writing a piece with Joe Lonsdale, former head of Stanford Review, Founders Fund guy under Peter Thiel. He's one of the founding fathers of Palantir. So Black's kid and Lonsdale are writing an article about how we got to get rid of USAID. Who oversaw that? Darren Beattie. Darren Beattie is running the U.S. Institute for Peace. His dad wrote the Constitution for Palau, that island in the Pacific, okay? And Beattie's a major opponent of USAID. So is his best good friend, Mike Benz, who is infiltrating the alt-right as Frame Game Radio, trying to get us not to talk about Jews. This is a taste of what I'm going to give you on Friday. Now, this is where you want to go, because this is where the evidence is. Okay? That's not spurious. That's solid. That's concrete. That is how the world runs. People want to say, whoa, but there's this email where he said torture video. He was tying people to grass and burning them with a magnifying glass. It's like, you know, we can file that. Some of that stuff is fake. Some of it we can file it under like suspicious. But the stuff that we should really drive home is the stuff that we know to be true. There's an infinite well of stuff like that is factual, provable, and anyone would eat that up. Anybody. When I start going about J.D. Vance, I start going about Barry Weiss, everybody's ears perk up and they start listening. You know, when I get going and I start dropping the names and talking about this stuff, everybody, left, right, and center, looks up and says, whoa, this guy knows what he's talking about. I don't agree with everything, but this guy's spitting facts. That's the gold. That's fucking gold. And anybody would love that. Stuff about Larry Ellison, the stuff about Vance, Barry Weiss, Thiel. That's good stuff. It's when you start getting into remote viewing aliens. That's when you lose people. I watched Tucker's show today on TikTok. He's interviewing this guy. Yeah, so the CIA hired psychics. And there's these psychic remote viewers, and they used remote viewing to see aliens at a facility in Alaska, and then that guy was killed because he was hit with a heart attack gun, and it's like, okay, well, now you lost me, okay? Now you lost me. People are tearing through the Epstein files. George W. Bush disemboweled the girl and ate the shit inside of her intestines in a ritual. You go, okay, now you lost me. That's just fucking doesn't even make any sense. That's just crazy talk. Like, seriously. People go, the moon is made of cheese. Epstein might have been a lizard and a time traveler and a psychic and an alien. And you go, okay, now you lost me. People go, wow, there it is, right there. It's like it says bank name. I mean, that obviously says bank name. Meanwhile, you got a treasure trove. It's like it's free. It's literally free. How is this not patched yet? The game is broken. The developers broke this. It's free. It's so free. Les Wexner. Hey, what state is Les Wexner headquartered in? Anybody know? Any of the Baal enthusiasts? Do you know what state Les Wexner was headquartered in? Ohio. Good. What state did J.D. Vance come from? Hillbilly Elegy as a senator. Ohio. Where are they building Andurill's next factory? Ohio. Which state is Vivek Ramaswamy running for governor of? Ohio. J.D. Vance's son is named Vivek, after his law school colleague at Yale, Vivek Ramaswamy. J.D. Vance at Peter Thiel's hedge fund, or rather at his venture capital firm, invested in Anduril. Peter Thiel and Jeffrey Epstein knew each other and were partners. Les Wexner allegedly hosted a fundraiser for J.D. Vance at his house. This has been rumored to have happened by a number of people. The same Senate campaign that Peter Thiel backed to the tune of $15 million. Okay. Now, people say I took the $7,000 because I don't want to talk about psychic children, time travelers, Egyptian planes, and lizard people. That's the stuff this is the stuff that matters. This is actually the red pill. Yeah, I'm an anti-ICE guy, okay? Yeah, I want ICE to deport these fucking Somalis. This is the stuff that pertains to Israel. This is actually the big picture. That's the part they don't want you to see. So, anyway, that's a little taste. We're going to get into all that on Friday. That's Les Wexner, that's Vance, Thiel, Vivek, Anduril. And what do you think the DFC is doing? Leon Black's kid at the Development Finance Corporation? What do you think they're involved in? It's an AI supply chain. What do you think the Doge people are doing in the Pentagon? Elon got his people in the Pentagon. It's defense procurement. They're trying to foist these Anduril drones on the Pentagon so that the Pentagon will give them billions of dollars in government contracts. Peter Thiel backed the company. He gave Palmer Luckey a second chance because Palmer Luckey got fired at Facebook, which Peter Thiel's an angel investor in. Peter Thiel introduced Jeffrey Epstein to Reid Hoffman from LinkedIn, who was from the PayPal Mafia that Peter Thiel founded with Elon Musk. It's all connected. We don't need to talk about this crazy shit. We don't need to go to psychics and the X-Men and time travel and remote viewing and aliens, because it's like it's all right here. It's all in the files. If you just do your homework. If you just do your homework, it's all there. So anyway, but we're going to get into all that on Friday. Someone said, save it for Friday. Okay, what do you not like the fucking content, dude? Anyway. All right, what else we got?
Spread CTE awareness sent $20. Search with X. From Jakashi Site Israel with an exact spelling. Click the latest down and see how far down you can scroll.
Hey, come on now. We're good with Jake now, okay? The new orders have gone out. Jake has always been good. The orders went out. Jake is good. Wait, Jake turned on us? The orders have gone out. He was always terrible. Oh, wait, we made up. New orders. He was, I don't know what you're talking about, Tovaresh. He was always good. Jake Shields was always a loyal party member. I don't know what you mean. We like Jake.
NY sent $50. I do contract work in municipal buildings for various civil service agencies. Not 10 years ago, the firemen, police officers, garbage men, electricians, plumbers, carpenters, etc. I've been talking Trump. Now all I hear about is a web test. Much love to blue collar robotics.
Hey, and we love blue collar. People always say, I hate the working class. I hate the service class. I love blue collar. Blue collar are the only real people left. They're the only business owners. I would say small business owners and blue collar are like the only real niggas left. Even if they're not white. Electricians, plumbers, HVAC, construction guys, masonry guys. These guys are like no bullshit. Now some of them do shoddy work, like some of these Hispanics. Some of the Hispanics are really good though. But these are like real niggas. And service workers that are. No bueno. Service workers, they're on Fent. You're just trying to get a cheesy gordita crunch and they're doing the Fent lean. They're leaned over. It's like, dude, give me my Baja Blast, man. Wake up! I just want my Baja Blast. Hey, wake up! Hey, man. Hey, Bartard. Just give me my gordita crunch so I can go home. Anyway.
I sent $25. The Great Goy 2-minute pause on Flash of 2026 is making me nostalgic for the time when heckling Shapiro about the USS Liberty during the World Wars was the most provocative thing ever. It's time for us to embrace being Gentiles and leave the going behind.
So true. W Gentile.
$20. Pre-firing this one, but did you see Jake Shields tweet challenging Ted McWilers to fight him back-to-back? Dude has absolutely no great work in his beliefs. He tried to call you
Hey, we like him now.
Imperial Socialist.
It's okay.
When women unironically fantasize about rapists and murderers like Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy, and Luigi Mangione, it's okay. But God forbid a man enjoys an Epstein or invented on TikTok.
Well, now, I'm not really sold on that one. Kind of true, though, right? You glorify Luigi Mangione, he's a murderer. Maybe there's something to be said there. I just think it's funny. Everybody is such a moral fag. You can't make jokes anymore. It's just edgy. And I mean, you're edgelording, it's too far. It's like, dude, it's never too far. We're trolls. It's in our DNA, dude. Troll face? Come on now.
Thomas Cruise said $100. Only new facts and smooth brains are mad about Epstein jokes. Just makes it funnier, DBQH.
It's true. Thank you for the big super chat. It's true. It's true. If we get away from that, that's who we are. It's in our DNA. We are Gamergate. We are Gamergate. We are 4chan. We are the hacker known as 4chan. That's who we are. People now want to get mad about edgelording and rage baiting. No, the rage baiting will continue. The trolling will continue. Okay.
Thomas Cruise said $100. Pizza, muffins, etc. isn't even coded language. Niggas was hungry. If you think cheese pizza is a crime, lock me up.
Well, it's definitely coded, but I appreciate the big super chat. Thank you.
$20.
It's kind of crazy, though. Now you can't say pizza without being, I do like pizza, okay? I'm from Chicago. I'm like the Ninja Turtles. I like pizza. Now every clip where I say I have this cheese pizza, people go, oh, Epstein. Diddy Blood thinks he's Epstein. It's like, dude, okay, so what are we supposed to say? I like flatbread with cheese and sauce.
Said $20. Going off your monologue last night, which would you say is the worst? General low IQ anti-Semitism, Candace followers, or these two are trust the Planned people. I am stuck with between Candace followers and retards. With love, fam, and dedicated Candace exposed series like you did with Tucker. She honestly deserves it.
Yeah, maybe it will happen.
Jake Shields Invitational, Order said $20. In order: 1. Rick 2. Pop Like 3. Mr. White 4. Pointer 5. Chris Burnett, Pending 6. Beardson 7. Lionheart 8. Larry Silverstein is a Devil Con 9. Brittany 10. Neo, confirmed.
Oh, the Jake Shields invitation.
That's good. Said $20. Did you catch the Catholic Candace Owens instructing her audience to read the book of Enoch today, which she described as a real history?
I'm telling you, dude, something's up there. Something's up there. Something is up. And I don't know what it is, but that esoteric stuff, it is a true fact. And you start to go down it and you lose touch with everything. I'm Catholic. It's the church and the synagogue. It's Jacob and Esau. That's what it's always been. It's what it always will be. Once you start going down that path and you say, well, it's not about monotheistic religions. It's about paganism and the sun. It's like, whoa, okay, now you lost me. Now you're getting into like Age of Aquarius stuff. You're getting into some weird kind of magical thing. I've seen it happen to a lot of people, and I think Tucker is pushing it hard. All this Tucker stuff about aliens and the occult and demons, this is like, it seems like he might be a practitioner. He might be into that stuff. When he's talking about psychics are real and that kind of thing, I'm like, what's the end game? Is this like a Project Bluebeam type thing? It's kind of sus. Very strange.
Do you think Yemen will eventually be divided into two countries? Obviously, there would be mass casualties if anyone tried to take over the north from the Houthis. So is this just a power struggle over control of the southeastern part? What's the end game in your opinion?
Well, the power struggle is over. I'm not really sure what you're talking about. The Southern Transitional Council has surrendered, and now the entire South is unified under the recognized presidency of Yemen, backed by Saudi Arabia. So you say, well, the Houthis are off limits. The Saudis are very clear. They want a united Yemen. So I don't know that they're going to create a southern state. I think their end game is ultimately to take it back from the Houthis. I think this is more of like a strategic reprieve. Saudi Arabia was losing the war badly, over-reliance in air power, poorly trained ground forces. They were getting hit. But I think their end game is ultimately to consolidate all of Yemen, But I'm not sure. I mean, the situation's rapidly developing.
Manny Shred said $20. Epstein was the same as Littlefinger / Ferris. Spy Masters in Game of Thrones using rifles and little birds to gain intel and
yeah, right.
Westeros. Except, instead of burning Epstein's genitals in a brazier in a blood magic ritual, the sorcerer only snipped his wire and ritualistically sucked out the blood. Rand said $20. I was blackballed until you showed me the worst thing to me is that everything's corrupt partisan.
Yeah, we have to. That's really the biggest thing, is fighting off that mentality. It's something like demoralization.
Rick remember said $20. Pneumatic. Turkic. Tribe. Candace sounds like she's making it up and looking around the room for words to say.
Nomadic Turkic tribe. Candace Owens. Like, why does she talk like that? I don't know what that is. She's, you know what I'm talking about? Like, the way that she talks, it's always like, I don't know what that is. So, I feel bad for her. She's getting made fun of for being dumb. I saw this clip. Pull it up. You gotta see this. What's this guy's name? It's like Nathan. It's Milk TV something. The fuck is it? It's like... do not look up Milk TV. Whoops. What is it called? It's like Milk Press or Milk something. Let me see if I can grab it. Milk Bar. Milk Bar. Okay. This one. Let me get it up on the screen. She
Milk TV.
responds to the Candace Can't Read Twitter account. I'll pull it up. I'll show you.
Ignorant, so bad.
This is good stuff.
And so because they're like running out of things to say about me, their new push is just that I'm stupid. Kids dumb. She's really stupid. She mispronounced a word. We're gonna go scroll through 300 episodes and look. She meant to say revelations, but she said relevations. She's ignorant. So Ben is so obviously answering the question that is asked by his producer, and they just like push any mistake I make, anything. They just like push through the algorithm. People make videos. Sometimes it's not even a mistake. Like when I was talking about temperature, and they made it such a big deal about what temperature water freezes at, as if they don't understand that if it's 30 degrees outside, it's warmer in some spots and cooler in other spots. It's warmer on my deck. Do you guys know about sun rising? And it's warm on one house. It's so ridiculous to try to push this through. Like it was just ridiculous. Like I'm like, it's 40 degrees on my deck, and the snow is not melting. It's 32 degrees here in Nashville. You're like, she's an idiot. She doesn't understand. The snow doesn't melt. Oh. Anyway, you're gonna watch Ben Shapiro because this is their new thing. Yeah, this is an idiot. Ask himself a question so he can answer it. And I love that it's kind of their natural route too, because like when you start to learn like real history behind the slave trade, Benny boy, I'm ignorant, but not that ignorant. And you know he just so badly just wants to hard R it. Like that they're at the point now where they're like, how can we basically just like call her the N-word, but like not fall into like just saying the N-word? Like I don't want to be Nick Fuentes, but like, you know. Ben, I'm gonna give you an N-word pass. Just say it. Just get it off your chest. You'll give it. That's what it means, right? Like an ignorant black person. Stop having people scroll through every second of my show trying to find me mispronouncing words.
Oh man, I feel sorry for her. Actually, I actually feel bad for her. Clearly, she is very self-conscious about it, deeply offended. I do feel a little bit bad. Did she say, or say, I'm sorry, I don't speak German. Blitzkrieg. Ah, ha, 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 ha. Just get it off your chest. It's like that TikTok sound. Like, okay, let's just make fun of the girl that tried to, you know what I'm talking about? What's that TikTok sound? Okay. Everyone's just gonna attack this girl that tried to blah, blah, blah. It's like, Candace, come on. It actually hurts my feelings a little bit. Makes me sad. Poor Candace. You know, what's really not cool, and then she plays the race card. Well, why didn't you just call me a nigger? Oh, I'm a dumb black person. Well, why did you just call me the N-word then? It's like, Candace, come on. Candace, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Candace, you is smart. You is kind. You is important. Come on, Candace, it's okay. I feel a little bad. I feel like we bullied this poor girl. This poor girl just wanted to, I don't know, start a witch hunt. This poor girl just wanted to start a shamanistic witch hunt against Turning Point USA, and everyone called her stupid, and now she's like, it's like when you say that thing that's too far, and then she starts crying and runs away. It's like, come on, it's okay. They're there, Candace. It's okay. I wanna pet her hair. It's okay. It's okay, sweetheart. She goes, okay, everyone's just gonna make fun of the girl that tried to prove Charlie Kirk was killed by Israel. It's like, it's okay. Candace, it's okay. You're trying your best. You're trying your best. Nobody can blame her for trying her best. Oh, yeah, so I feel a little bad, but it's clearly like seething. She's like, oh, everyone's saying Candace is an idiot. Haha, very funny, guys. Then she plays the race card. That's just classless, though. Let's just be honest. That's totally classless. Come on, dude. You're better than that. Candace, you're better than that. Don't talk like one of them. You're not. Even if you want to be. She's talking like every other race hustler. Oh, you're just making fun of my intelligence because you're racist. You think I'm your slave. I ain't your boy, man. It's like, come on, you're better than that. Don't make excuses. Just own it. Do better. You mispronounce some things. I mispronounce things. I mispronounce simulacrum. Okay, sue me.
Utopia.
I mispronounced simulacrum. Tim Gordon reminded me of that. And it is what it is. Just own it. Just own it. Say, you know what? I've got a responsibility. I got it wrong, But she's going to play the race card and say, oh, you was only saying that because I was black. You was only saying that. Why? Because a nigga can't read? What? Sorry, massa. You think I can't read because I was a nigga? Like, come on. You're better than that. You're fucking better than that. You're better than that, Candace. Don't you go playing the race card. Look, you mispronounced some easy words. Architecture. Compartmentalize. Legitimize. Like, these are not difficult words. You fucked up. It's okay. You don't need to know every word. Just say, hey, I read a lot. I read a lot. I don't speak a lot. That's fine. Don't play the race card. That's beneath you. You have fought too long and too hard as a token black woman to now play the race card like this. You got your start in Brexit, leading black people into the Republican Party. You didn't fight this long and this hard as a token black woman with sass and attitude to now play the race card simply because you don't know how to read or write. You're better than that. She goes, okay, Mr. Shapiro, you think I can't read because I was a nigga? Just say it. Just calls me a nigga. Oh, Candace can't read. Mammy can't read because she's a nigga. Just say it. You was a racist, Mr. Shapiro. You was a racist. It's like all them white folk. It's like all them white folk. Dude, she plays the race card for everything. When her white boyfriend in Connecticut wasn't friends with her, she called him a racist. When she wasn't paying her rent and her landlord tried to evict her, she said he's a racist. She got her start with Social Autopsy, calling everybody racist. She got her start at Turning Point, calling the Democrats racist. Now this. It's on tape. Caught in 4K. Cannot read. Legitimatize. Compartmentalize. Blitzkrieg. That's that there Blitzkrieg, nigga. Okay, we got you. And now she wants to say, oh, it's because you're all rich. Just call me a nigger then. Because that's what you want to say. It's like, listen, no one called you, no one said that. Just like, we're struggling, okay? But that's like the thing. That's why she hates me. She brought me on the show, and I'm like, look, I hate race mixing, and black people have a low IQ. That's why she hates me. You know, she brings me on for this interrogation, and I'm like, yeah, race mixing is gay. You know, sub-Saharan Africans have low IQ. She could never let that go. Now she's like, oh, it's my sub-Saharan IQ. It's like, yeah. Yeah. She goes, oh, Nick said this, and he says I have a sub-Saharan IQ. Yeah, you kind of do. It's okay. But, yeah. Anyway, we love her anyway. Candace, come back to us. You're going down a path we cannot follow. Come back. Candace, come on back. Come on. Candace Owens. We like Candace, but it's so frustrating. Oh.
Percent $20. If Sarah stopped this her marriage and all, that's a pretty solid for you can marry.
Hey. Watch it, alright?
$20.
We like
the church in SoCal that doesn't worship at battling Baboon Candace. Everyone here is a flat earther, Goy, and I hate it. P.S. My wife says about you, that kid has brass balls. God bless.
Alright, W wife, that's a real one.
She nested
W.
$100. You're the writer. Revelation 19.
I'm not familiar with that one. I hope I don't know what that is.
I have a 9 p.m. bedtime for my JB. Broken heart emoji. Wilderflower emoji. Yesterday you spoke about Israeli influence in Russia. Could you explain this topic more to the audience or direct us to an interview or show where you might have spoken about this? Love your show and God bless.
Dude, that's the lead. It hurts. It literally hurts me. I explained it in detail last night. Can you point us to an interview where it's spoon-fed to us like a baby? I don't have internet. I live in a pre-internet civilization. Can you point to an interview where it's spoon-fed to me like a child?
Was it previous for 17
like
years
a baby?
Discovering your show? You convinced me to get out of that organization, and as of January 1st this year, I am. Thank you.
Love it, man. God bless you. They're nothing but trouble.
Richardson,
nothing but trouble.
Shout out to Circa. When he was on Jack Dale's podcast, said one word to describe you would be a saint and you're the most loyal friend one could have. He was so hilarious on Steiny's pod. Circa, come back.
I appreciate it. Circa, where's he been, man? The guy's a cowboy. He just disappears for months at a time, but he's a character, man. He's a funny guy. And great interview. 4 hours with Jack Neal. I haven't finished it. I watched some of it. So, yeah, W, come back. Hey, Circa, take it easy on Sneeko. Come on now. I love Circa. I love Sneeko. Come on, so take it easy on our boy Sneeko. We love Sneeko. You love Sneeko. Take it easy on our guy. Come on now. I feel bad. I love Tate. I love Zerka. I love Sneeko. There's all this beef. I want these guys to be friends. That's the only thing. But we do like Zerka.
Get Roy 224 sent $20. You are the penguin heading towards the mountain.
Yeah.
Good line, Roy sent $25. Hey, Nick, thank you for what you do. Big props to your customer support team. I reached out because I ordered a help back and did not receive it yet. They emailed me back the next day and overnighted it. Thank you.
Great service. Thank you.
Beast sent $30. Hey, Nick, I just found out that my great-grandfather was a high-level member of the John Birch Society. Have you ever looked into this?
Oh, yeah. Very familiar. They're not great, though. I'll tell you what. Michael Collins Piper talks about them. The Birchers never talk about the Jews. The Birchers, they talk about the Illuminati, the Masons, communists, this and that. They never talk about this. So, Michael Collins Piper had beef with them. He's one of the greats. So they were part of the original gatekeeping thing. They were gatekept out of the original conservative movement by William F. Buckley and the others. That was like the first big purge in post-war conservatism. It was the Birchers that got kicked out of the party. Then it was the Buchanan Brigades and the Paleocons, some years later. So,
Yedrian sent $20. In light of recent developments in the RW sphere, I'm putting some respect on the only man that's actually serious about this movement. 07. Last sensible person with integrity in this brood of vipers.
It's not easy being the only real nigga.
Loyal LeBroy sent $25.
Now, sometimes, you don't deserve me at my realest nigga if you can't handle me at my realest nigga. You know? You don't deserve me going hard as fuck if you can't handle me at my realest nigga. Sometimes you gotta be real.
Loyal LeBroy sent $25. I can't name a Goy I trust. Okay, I can name like 3. I know they Goy cause they last name Smith.
Ugh.
Big the LeBroy sent $20. You should do us with Epstein if you were alive.
No.
Randall from Recess sent $25. I literally missed
Hey,
Operation
no.
Zero in the Pillsbury Juke Boy. I
No,
I'm sorry
never.
for all the shit you have to deal with on a daily basis. Also, if you find it not with any girl, what do you expect? Nice break though. He went to jail.
Hey, alright, come on now.
Lightning Twice sent $50. Chad Thomas will get thrown in jail, so sub 5 grifters and Joel Davis is left in charge of NSN for 1 month. Within days, the Australian government forces the organization and its entire network to completely disband. No escaping the blackmail.
Oh, I hate to see it. You know, if only somebody told them how it
Generic
happened.
Noah sent $20. Did you see that they put random Dan Bilzerian posts in the Epstein files with the girls' faces blacked out? Typical Feds muddying the waters.
Who knows, man? Maybe it has a perfectly logical explanation. Typical Feds muddying the waters? Maybe, who knows, man? There's 3 fucking million files. Maybe some random shit went in there. There's no connection. They literally have his entire Instagram on there. Who knows? Typical Feds muddying the waters. You go like, okay, maybe there's just some perfectly reasonable explanation.
Paris Morales Bro sent $25. Yo, just wanted to circle back on that charity boxing match with Miss.
No, come on.
Edited Leo Pink sent $20. JF got to marry, impregnate, and kill a retard and get funding from Epstein. What a life.
I gotta collab with them. I keep saying I'm gonna do it. We gotta do a
Jimmy
collab.
Foxy sent $20. Always listening to the show when I'm driving. Thank you. Good man.
Thank you, man.
Diddy
Appreciate
Sprinkle
it.
sent $50. Red pilling parents is so toxic. Then I show a few clips of you to my grandpa, and he loves you for all the wrong reasons. Says you remind him of the good
All
days.
right.
God damn it. Smiling.
Hey!
ATC being there.
Watch a blasphemy. Watch a blasphemy. But I appreciate it, man. Hey, we love the
Roman
grandparents.
sent $20. Why do you believe you can put together Epstein's network, motives, and illustrate what his agenda was from emails? This is the same type of activity you have been pushing back against by drawing conclusions from info that is part and parcel.
Huh?
Why try to frame this issue as a civilian for the public to choose from?
That's the dumbest super chat I've ever read.
Ryan Roy sent $20. Lenny was not wanted to happen from Barry and Shorty at CPAC cast the first stone. Also restock large port.
Hey, all right. Is it really out of stock?
Roy sent $20. The agitator yelling the hard R to a black ice officer was a fun one to watch today.
I didn't see that.
Diddy Sprinkle sent $100. Little response to my first chat. I try and explain to my grandpa that you don't actually have hatred for other races. He doesn't get it. He just loves you saying the hard R. I
Let's
just
go.
smile and laugh.
Love it. Bless his heart. Thank you for the big super chat. We love the old timers. You know, they're a different breed. That generation, they just don't make them like that anymore. You gotta really love the old timers. I was with one of these guys helping me with some construction work, let's say. Contractor came by, old friend of my father's, and he's telling me his life story. Funny guy, one of the funny, pure Chicago, funny guy. He was over the other day, and he's telling me his whole life story, and he goes, my friend got me a job. I was a doorman at this building. He goes, I actually was the elevator. He goes, yeah, the job had its ups and downs. He goes, just stuck that one in there and just full speed ahead on the story. I was laughing my ass off. He's telling me about he got in this motorcycle crash, and I'm like, this guy, this is pure Chicago. This is who we are. This is what we're losing. They just don't make them like that anymore. Funny guy, nicest guy you'll ever meet. He knows his boilers, man. He knows the fucking boilers. He knows, his craft. And, I think about all the people that I grew up with, like my parents' friends, really the people they grew up with in the neighborhood, and just one character after another, funny and good people, salt of the earth. I love, and these are old timers. They just don't make them like that anymore. You know what I mean? Millennials and Zoomers are such faggots. They're just not the same. I don't know what it is, but it's like, let me try to explain this. It's like, I feel like this generation just has no gravitas. The way that everybody speaks, you're like, maybe your younger Xers, your millennials, your Zoomers, the way that they talk is so, casual. Everything is so casual. No gravitas. Nobody knows how to tell a story. Nobody Nobody speaks with any kind of emphasis. There's no form to anything. I feel like the older generations, when you watch the award show, you have Dean Martin, you have Frank Sinatra. It's like the way that they talked, it just sounded more formal. It sounded more, I don't even know how you would describe it. And now, the way everybody talks is so, it sounds like everybody's on a Zoom call all the time. And I also think about Saturday Night Live. There is not one funny person on Saturday Night Live, and there hasn't been for like 10 years. And you think about, when I was growing up, it was Fred Armisen, Will Forte, Bill Hader, Kristen Wiig. You had like this all-star lineup. Amy Poehler, Tina Fey was a writer. You had all those people like in 1 year. And in the generation before that, you had all the, you had Adam Sandler and Will Ferrell and Chris Farley. And I feel like even that last generation in the 2000s, a guy like Fred Armisen is a genius, just like so funny and so creative, and they really have like this passion. And there's something about the new guys, it's not just that they're not funny, it's that it seems like there's something like missing. And it's not that they don't have a sense of humor. It's like, I don't know if it's that they lack a classical training, if they didn't put in their 10,000 hours. It's like they just are not at that skill level. It's like, and that, it's arguable. People say, was the show ever funny? People always say it's bad. But I really feel like there's a steep drop-off in quality after like 2015. And now the people on the show, it's just like they have no stage presence. Who's the funniest one in the past 10 years? They say it's that lesbian. She's not funny. Barry Weiss's girlfriend. She's not fucking funny at all. She's terrible. And she's the standout. None of them have stage presence. None of them have good impressions. None of them have a really funny bit. None of them are animated. They're all very like, I don't know. They just fucking suck. So this generation is terrible with performers. I saw on the Grammys, Somber performed at the Grammys, and I'm not like a hater here, but I'm watching him dance and sing, and I'm like, this guy dances and sings like a doom scroller. The way that he dances and sings, it's like, okay, you're doom scrolling all day on TikTok. Like your face is buried in your phone all day. I don't know how I know that, but just the way you're moving and singing, it's like you're a phone-addicted zombie. And in the old days, you had like Jim Morrison and like John Lennon, and you had people that were very young, but they had soul and they had personality and they had moves. And we just don't have that. Who are the characters now? Back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s, you had like real characters, real like larger-than-life people with like real personalities. And now it feels like everybody is so blah. Everybody is so fucking boring and nothing interesting to say. And they don't dazzle. Because I've been feeling this for a long time. So, anyway. So I respect the elders. We like the old timers. I miss that generation in Chicago. Now it's all yuppie faggots. It's all yuppie faggots from Wisconsin, Indiana, Iowa, Nebraska. It's all these people that come here for school, and then they want to be some like indie douchebag in Wicker Park. They want to be some indie douchebag in Lincoln Park, Wicker Park, near West Side. And these people all suck. Whatever happened to old school Chicago? Real working class, real old school. Whatever happened to that? Anyway, that's just me.
Catholic Roy present $50.
And that's
Thank
me.
you for being the leader of the Gentiles. It's not easy to speak the truth here in the Jew center of the world, New York, unless you enjoy being a peasant. I don't know how you haven't switched sides already. The going are absolutely fucking retarded biggest black pill of them all. 95% of the population is absolutely retarded.
Thank you for
John
that.
Jones said $20. Can you elaborate on your potential 2028 support for Bannon? Seems like he's heavily implicated with Epstein. Did you watch their interview?
I did. Because I think that someone needs to challenge Vance. Nobody is challenging Vance. They are lining up. Okay, and hey, fucking idiot. Vance is in bed with all of Epstein's people. Like, where do you think Vance came from? Vance came from Teal. Vance came from Ohio. Epstein's all over that. Okay, so you endorse Bannon. I think that Bannon is somebody, I don't really know what he is, honestly. But he is somebody that throughout his life has just hooked up with all these powerful patrons. Guo Wengui, Rebecca Mercer, Jeffrey Epstein, many people over the years. I don't really know what his deal is. I've never met him, talked to him. I don't know his story. That being said, he is one of the only major Republicans to challenge Little Tech and Vance. Nobody else is doing it. Everybody is lining up, bending the knee, kowtowing to Vance and paying fealty that he's going to be the guy. There's going to be no competition. Everybody just get behind him. And Bannon is one of the only mainstream people that are saying, I'm just going to run just to challenge Vance. We need to see that on the stage. There needs to be a primary. So I don't care who it is. As long as it's somebody that's on the right of Vance and is going to challenge him. So that's why I'm looking forward to Bannon's challenge.
It's the juice at $20. Did you see Harrison Smith's post in the 8th Front in the war on the USA through a full spectrum surveillance, etc.? It's a compilation of their speeches and strategy for toppling the new Rome. Wild stuff.
I didn't see the post. No.
Diddy Sprinkles said $50. Left-wing riot groups were pushing to identify the big bad SS Nazi agents, then terrified of the release of the names that shot Alex, Gutierrez and Ochoa, Frey and Shambles, Mexican Nazis. Good luck.
Wait, say that again. Left-wing riot groups are pushing to identify the Nazi agents, terrified at the release of the names that shot Alex. Oh, and they're Hispanics. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's really problematic for them.
One Senator Alvo said $20. Say a prayer for Casey, a neighbor of mine who passed at the age of 20 under effect of cancer. In his last days, even while extremely weak and hardly able to talk, he accepted Christ into his life.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but if there's any way to go, that's something you want to do before you head out. So, God bless. We'll be praying.
Annie said $20. Hey, I wanted to say thank you. As a union member, watching you speak openly push me to use my voice. Because of that confidence, I'm now planning to run for a delegate seat.
Good.
God bless you.
Good. Nice work. Love it. We need that.
Humongous Falls said $50. The irony of all Gaia caused outrage against you as everyone who was talking about heavy board reloading you noticed it was not very funny. Organic making it seem for
Yeah.
7 minutes.
Yeah. Thank you. Dude, Sam Hyde had an Epstein shirt 6 years ago. He didn't get this. It's a meme. I think really the older people just don't know that it's a meme. It's been a meme for like 7 years, and if you go on TikTok, it's all Epstein edits. It's a meme, and then all of a sudden, boomers started freaking out.
Humongous Falls said $50. Mind you, this was during the mass hysteria of OG Pizzagate. It's like these people have no sense of humor or nuance and can only view things perfect and evil. Thanks for the IQ filters, make them see.
Yeah, you got
Matthew
it.
P said $25. From Braden Peters. Jeffrey Epstein. What's up, brother? From Jeffrey Epstein to Braden Peters. Saw your stream the Auth equals Hardite. African Americans cursing you for saying African American. Listen to our Catholic friend. Who would make poor jurors.
That's really funny. What's up, brother? I love the what's up, brother. That is so funny to me. He's just got like a nigga hat tilted to the side. Hey, what's up, bro? He's like totally zooted on ketamine. What's up, brother? And it's some black guy like, what you wear? Why are you wearing that hat? And he's like, hey, what's up, brother? He's just like totally high. Why is he the goat? Dub, and I will glaze.
Yes, such a great enjoyer said $20.
Oh, well.
Have you noticed that once they took out Epstein, suddenly the other bed shit exploded? Rubes, these little is back from milking the boy. Now the hope realizes upon us. Screenshot this.
I don't think that is connected to
One of
that.
them once said $25. Always thought Jake embodied low IQ anti-Semitism.
Hey, no, we like Jake now. We like Jake again.
Yeah,
Okay.
we love Jake. Great enjoyer said $20. You should have one of those 24/7 channels on Cozy TV where it just plays all your shows from episode 1 until the latest one and loops 24/7 like Yu-Gi-Oh channel on Twitch playing all Yu-Gi-Oh episodes.
Yeah.
Jack said $20. Since you were sincerely interested in the truth of critical thinking, you will eventually come to realize that Jews on the net benefit society and align with Israel as in America's interest. When this happens, you will be embraced by the Jewish community who values critique, intelligence, and strong opinions.
Well, make the case for me,
One
huh?
of them once said
Make the
$25.
case.
You are the New Age David Irving for the New Age Holocaust. Irving claimed Hitler had no idea of the Jewish atrocities under his reign. The guy didn't actually hate Jews. You say Epstein had no idea they were under 18. The guy didn't actually harm these girls.
Well, not
All
quite.
women into space until they enter solar orbit.
I'm not reading
Now,
now.
Sprinkles said $50. Lol, I see retards right at 9 p.m. already bitching about you being late to the stream. You think he's starting a stream with 8.5k in the chat bowl? It's us retards. We are on airtime.
I'm just lame.
Candace Dick understood me. Sent $20. Candace saying it isn't about monotheistic faiths and instead some random just music some inward thinking total J thought. Wag a t-shirt
Yeah.
and check local architecture Walgreens.
Major J
Hey,
thought.
Edward sent $20. Fuck the boy. Fuck the haters. Excited to get my orders in the mail. Also, shout out to Jeffrey for adding some primers to my Slur library.
Oh, that's good, yeah.
Mike Fuzzy sent $20. God bless you for your consistency. The smoke screens are crazy. There's a big events with the prostitute in the files. Didn't going just find out that many elites, presidents, kings, politicians, etc. indulged to some degree. The question no one's asking of why is there a photo of it? Took it. Well, they recorded.
Exactly.
Flex and Blog sent $20. With
Exactly.
Are you able to explain your interpretation of one, why the black cube of Saturn represents to be called elite rituals and negative harvest locations?
My interpretation of why the black cube represents to the elites? What do you mean why it represents? What the cube represents is the material plane. The cube represents all of the cardinal directions, up, down, and the compass. And so it represents material reality, and which they view as a prison. And that's really the occultic significance. And if you look at the six-pointed star, it contains the cube. What is the six-pointed star? Well, it's two triangles. Two triangles, one pointed up, one pointing down. And some say there's a hermetic or a Gnostic meaning, which means as above, so below, which means that the microcosm reflects the macrocosm. It reflects dualities, different passive, male and female. You could say that the six-pointed star or the cube can be mapped onto the 10 Sphirot, and there's some significance there too. But Saturn, as you know, is a deity, and you have Saturday, and so they say that maybe this is, I've heard this over the years, that there is like some sort of remote viewing, like how did the Jews know there was a storm on Saturn? How did they know this? Well, because the devil told them. And so the cube that is on Saturn, this hexagon, this cube, which is this storm on Saturn's pole, well, this is the cube, the Kaaba in Mecca, and this is the Star of David, which is, as Ganis points out, an ancient symbol. And that's why they chose it on their flag. But what it represents is material reality. That is what the cube for them. When you say black cube, and you see black cube everywhere, black cube intelligence, black cube in the center of the mosque, that is what the black cube is. It's material reality. That's what it represents.
Linus 1643 sent $20. Thank you, Mr. Fuentes, for sticking up for the Catholic faith. Hail Mary, full of grace. God be with you, brother. I have a family of Christians. In the Catholic. That
Let's
enjoy your show
go.
night by night. Folded hands emoji.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. God bless.
Kennedy sent $50. This is for my friend Jag. Fuck you.
Hey, well, we're cool now, so it's over.
Not a real
It's
leader
all
sent
over.
$50. Do you think Trump will negotiate with Iran on his own terms or negotiate what Israel wants? No ballistic missiles, no nuclear enrichment, and no support to Hezbollah, Hamas, Houthis. Seeing it's the midterm election and if Republicans lose both House and Senate, he'd be impeached and then imprisoned.
Well, we already talked about this, actually. That's sort of what the whole show is about. Hey, Trump do what Israel wants or what we want. Okay.
Sarah
It's
Stock
like,
should be logged in.
it just hurts. It's physically
Sent
painful.
$20. I am once again renewing my declaration of total lunar death. And if you see an e-girl, you are morally obligated to smash her phone on the ground. The AGL sends its regards.
All right.
0767. State of Geopolitics, niggas sent $20. Don't think anyone with 100 plus IQ thinks you're really defending Epstein, but nigga holy cornball with the edge lording and drama.
That's just like Reddit above it all. Holy cornball. Holy, get a job and you're broke.
Sarah Stock's vengeful aborted dumpster fetus Royer sent $30.
Okay, come on now.
Visit me better sent $20. Could I ever imagine my life without my mother? Like ever imagine? Ever? It's bad.
What did, oh, this guy again. Love it. Dude, why don't you go watch the Orthodox show that's funny and awesome? Oh, wait, there isn't one. They're all fucking dorks. Sorry.
Royer sent $20.
There's like Orthodox cocksuckers on the show. Hey, you're Catholic. I mean, okay, then go watch the East Orthodox show of the funny, awesome guy leading the movement. Oh, wait, that doesn't exist. Oh, wait, there's nothing like that at all.
Ruthless Zoomer sent $20. Hey Nick, after the Sosnick Fred, which drops before Ash Wednesday, who should I investigate next? Let me know. Andrew Clavin seems like an interesting character. Or maybe I should just do a short expose on Candace's career and remind Goyim exactly the kind of person she is.
Yeah, Clavin's
Drew
good.
Carrera sent $20. Imson Roy here. Just signed with an elite investment banking firm to join. Plan on hiding my power level, building up power, influence, and wealth to help save America. Any advice as I enter my professional career? Considering entrepreneurship post-banking.
I have no idea. I don't know how you do investment banking, so I don't have any advice for you. But nice work, good for you.
Myself sent $50. You were just scared Elijah was going to kill you from the liminal space.
What's the joke? I don't get it. Is Elijah in the liminal space? I don't understand.
Help my plumbing sent $20. Evening, sir. Long ago you convinced me to go back to school, and I just graduated with my associates. Halfway to bachelor's. Also,
Good.
my Jew fiancé is converting to Catholicism. W. Jacob. Forgive me, Hitler, for I'm about to race mix. Ever visit U505? That was my favorite part of Chicago. PHX for cutting through BS.
I have. Oh yeah, I've been. You go there all the time. Science and industry. Been going there since I was a kid. I remember when they brought it there. You're marrying a Jew, dude. Come on.
Bessie 12 sent $20. Pray for Elijah Schaefer. Praying just remote.
Absolutely.
Non-Atari agent sent $25. So is Jake Shields out as Secretary of Education for Holocaust
He's
Revisions
back.
and Enforcement.
We resubmitted his nomination.
Chris sent $100. No message. By the way, alert important message from Joe the Boomer. The rumors about Joe the Boomer's death were greatly exaggerated. I am about to take over King of Big Partner. I will escape the blockchain.
All right, thank you for the big super chat. Joe the Boomer, we miss him.
Follow Baby sent $20.
Miss
Basic
that guy.
Boots.
Yes.
C. Ravi sent $20.
Not reading.
Yes, Mr. Shapiro sent $20. Everyone thinks Epstein was killed for fear of blackmail, but what if he was killed to stop him suing the peddlers of all these fake images? He's branded as new Hitler when the evidence suggests he was at best a perv. They
Oh
have to
my
refresh
gosh, yeah, it's all a conspiracy, man.
Denny Sprinkle
It's
sent
all a
$100.
conspiracy.
Props to you for stepping up like a true man and taking accountability. Nick, Tucker, and Candace are the big three. You have called each other niggers and feds. Needed to be said. Time to unite. Let's go.
Well, I mean, the ball is in their court. I really extended the olive branch, and then they both took turns shitting on me. Thank you for the big super chat. I'm always open for peace, but they both have this weird axe to grind, so I'm open to it, but, it takes two to tango.
Let's grow it. Disney Better sent $20. Could you imagine eating a created grace?
I
No quarter only dime sent $20. Americanism, the exclusion of all foreign influence and with zero tolerance for Marxism/neo-Marxism. Are you prepared to brand as an Joseph MC Few and to usher in the third Red Scare? Randy Munson sent $25. Thanks for being the voice of reason with the Epstein craziness in the movement overall. Respect for reining it back in. I'm ashamed I'm guilty of wanting to believe some of the crazier things that have come out. I'm certain you've talked a lot of us off the ledge, but I claim temporary going insanity. Thanks, Brian. Shane Supremacy sent $20. Absolutely need some Going United merch for my white boy summer. I know you're a powerful man, and can you make it happen? Ryan sent $20. I think some Going United merch would be a big hit. Big Smelly Feet sent $20. Glad to see the Hope Max sick today, my nigga. Woodley sent $20. So is none of the big brain JQ accounts defying pedophilia going to talk about how some of the victims might be in on the Jewish blackmail network and should be investigated?
That's where you're going with it? The victims are actually the criminals. Yeah, dude, there's a lot of, hot takes about Epstein. I think that's got to be the worst one I've
Low
heard.
IQ Grover sent $20.
That's worse than the
Low
alien
IQ
stuff.
Grover sent $20. I'm glad you brought circling the wagon back up because after the club cost only used Nico and Myron held it down. Circle
True.
Goyim. Together.
Oh,
Strong.
yeah. Goyim together
Johnny
strong.
Bravo sent $20. Great to see you all forgive and bring us all in together. There's a leader in you. It honestly gives me hope. You're one of the smartest dudes I've seen in a long time. Now I've got to go delete a whole lot of wild tweets to Jake. Can't wait for the goo merch. Got all my AF hats the other day. PHX for making me.
Yes, you got
sent
it.
$20. Huge props to Bennett for trying to rehabilitate Epstein's image. But that was a horrible interview. Constant interruptions. Leading questions. No decorum.
It's not a real interview. He was media training Epstein for his 60 Minutes interview. It's not. That's what I'm talking about. You guys are idiots. It's not a real interview. That was a practice session. He was media training him.
Utah Fred sent $20. Appreciate you, man.
Come on, guys.
Don Sydney sent $20. Love the movement. But really fit tonight's message. I agree with refining the movement, but simultaneously alienating normie learners with instant gratification. AF should be for the believers in setting a policy, and let the others inform and give along leash.
Okay.
Elijah Schaff Benadryl sent $20. Love the wholesome Chungus speech, Nick. We still raping Sneaker though.
Elijah Shaker's Benadryl.
Accumulated funds sent $25. Did you see Tristan Tate telling the Jewish podcast Mark Shapiro that he is not like the Jew-hating bro-hybrids that want to gas all the Jews? Sneako warned you that Tate would snake you like they snaked him. The Tates only care about money and fame and their Israeli girlfriends and teams. Fuck the Tates.
I like the Tates.
Twitter sent $50. RIP Joel Setka's marriage.
Come on.
Lincoln's Mom testify sent $20. Kick out here playing hot potato with partnerships. You're in. Psych. You're out faster than a bag from film hum.
Yeah, it's
Storm
crazy.
Slogan sent $50. The game perfidious Q jumps the water and everyone went to slop it up without a second thought. Identifying the attack and calling for reunification is why you're the fighting go. RKD 4-inch. You're the leader.
That's why I'm the leader. That's why I'm the goat. Okay, come on now. Super chat's broken? Oh no.
Tops 28 sent $20.
It's broken. Alright, here we go. Alright, here we go. Okay, refreshed it. Now
Daily Sprinkles sent $50. 2026 test just feels different. Tucker and Candace are too smart to turn this alliance down. You three learning to work your views together. Who the fuck stops that? Nobody. United we
okay, so naive. Knowing what okay.
Tops 28 cent $20. Your CS analogy reminds me of Gangs of New York, especially since the main character is Irish American.
Reminds me of that
Just sent $20. South Africa's still watching behind electric fences and 24/7 security. We're a cautionary tale. Did you see we did naval drills with Iran? That's China attempting to revive our military. P.S. We share a beauty smile. I heard 4 loud bangs from inside Elijah Schaffer's home before seeing him leave home this morning. Grover sent $25. Lion Turtle sent $20.
Come on, we shouldn't laugh at that. That's
Lion
terrible.
Turtle sent $20. Not a gotcha. The Wachovia is pronounced Wa. Go. V.
Thank you. Someone told me that, so thank you.
19 sent $20. Two things. One, I like the dichotomy Ron Paul drew between political coalitions and political alliances. A coalition is issue specific and disbands once the objective is reached. A coalition with Browns and Muslims against Jay Power would be good. Two, to his cattle, it looks like you start a huge AMT event for right drama. Okay, love you.
Ugh.
American Office Brown sent $20. Diddy Sprinkles sent $50. If you and Tucker end up talking things out, I hope we still get to see you press him. Go ahead. Call JD Vence's wife a G.
You're an
Sure
idiot.
472 sent $20. Just got my AF sweatshirt and hat. Great quality and great for pissing off lifeguards at college. Tenrio sent $20. What a wild ride the Jake stuff was. Glad you two squashed it. Gambling Saint sent $20. Well, since we don't want to hurt the Jews, can we at least make Dave Smith not king but like head Jew so they all have to be libertarian and are no political threat to anyone? Average John 93 sent $100. You make politics less boring and open and list of things I never knew, but I found my passion in racing cars and now real estate in my time of ascension. Appreciate it.
Awesome. W Real Estate, thank you for the big super chat. Nice job.
070 sent
Love
$25. Most women weren't built for politics. I'm not done figuring out how to make money and give it to the Gentiles who are able to politic on our behalf. Everybody wants to give you money. You just need to find the right value proposition.
Nobody wants to give me money. That just does not. People offer to give me money all the time, and then they just don't. So
Cactus Swag sent $20. He knows some Chinese conspiracy theorist, but do you believe the theory about Epstein being rescued by Mossad still being live holds any weight? Seen that floating around under the file dump. Just curious.
no, I don't think Epstein was rescued by
Accumulated
Mossad.
Thoughts sent $25. You should apologize to Sneaky privately for crashing out and insulting Mohammed and comparing his prophet to First Digest. Throbbing Cock sent $25. If it takes 1 hour to read one document and you have 15 FBI agents working 24 hours a day, how long does it take to go through? Bob Walker Broder sent $20. Elijah is being framed. I saw Richard Strocker giving Sarah stock better for lab feedback. JF sent $20. What's up? Message Epstein sent to a doctor about how blood transfusions can reverse aging. There was another about a text correspondence leaked to the press about adrenochrome. Why are you so sure they don't harvest oxidized adrenalized blood from children ritualistically? Adrenochrome is its own Wikipedia page.
Literally made.
Bush Bucket sent $21. Jewish. Paradox. An American Purple's God we both know about it, you don't care. Those who preach turmoil throughout history have hope. Gambling Saint sent $20. I used to be a salesman for a larger company, and the speak pattern is very similar to the cadences they teach new hires to use on phones, just very poorly executed by first week on job. Larry Wilmer sent $20. Sorry, Must Ben. I can't read because Charlie time traveled to stop me from learning to read. Just say the word Ben. MC Grabby sent $20. Have you heard the news about Sarah Stocksley? Reese's sent $20. As usual, the white man having to keep the minorities in check. Glad to see it. Hopefully we can bring the red pill community back together and get another fresh and fit. Alpha Lightner sent $20. I am a musician from NYC. Love your show and feel empowered with you speaking up against international Jewry. We will combine forces someday. Wagon Christ is king.
Oh, will we? Yeah,
Bobby
maybe.
Gordon sent $20. Saying this generation doesn't speak with any gravitas was the perfect wording of a thought I've also been having. I notice it the most when I hear old Englishmen speak. Someone like Christopher Lee counted. Diddy Sprinkles sent $50. Thanks for the response from my grandpa Nick. Go. He will definitely get a kick out if you call him millennials faggots. Can't wait to show him. Anytime I can see my grandpa laugh, always.
Awesome. W.
Sprinkles sent $50. Thanks for the response from my grandpa Nick.
Whoops.
Peruvian Broder sent $20. My friends and I all love your show. Just ordered a Jake Borders zip and Mike shirt. You're quite popular here.
Hey, well, we love Peru. Shout out to Lima. You know, I represented Peru in Model UN once at Harvard. I got an honorable mention. Yeah, okay. All P5s won trophies and me as Peru. Harvard in a General Assembly committee, in the Economic and Finance Committee. You know, the top three, it was like China, Russia, USA, and best delegate, outstanding delegate. I got an honorable mention as Peru, because I'm that nigga. So, I have a little connection. Peruvian puff pepper.
Cashage 1 sent $20. An Israeli citizen was arrested on February 2nd in Las Vegas with illegal minor labs. 37 arrows. FBI seized over 1,000
I saw that.
infectious agents, including HIV, malaria, COVID, and Hep C thoughts.
BioWebs.
Rosa sent $100. Chubby cheeks. Get back to the tube.
Okay, thanks for that. Okay, all right. That's our last super chat. That's going to do it for me. Amazing job as always, guys. That's all I got for you. Remember to smash the follow button, smash the like button, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the show.